string of bad weather, Saturday has brought one of the nicest days of the year to New York. Perfect day for being out on the water, taking in one of the 843 acres of Central Park, and then heading out to the ballpark, where the Mets try and get another winning streak going tonight against the Diamondbacks. From Citi Field in New York, Pick Sports presents New York Mets baseball today. The Mets play the Arizona Diamondbacks. Have a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play Game 2 of a 4-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets lost last night. In fact, they've lost their last 2 after winning 5 in a row. What was different about the last 2 nights is that the Mets faced left-handed starters. In fact, they've now lost their last 7 when they've faced lefties, something they had been doing very well against earlier in the season. Tonight, they start a string against right-handed pitching, and perhaps with that regular lineup that won 5 straight intact again tonight, they can get another streak started.
You know what's really interesting about that? Jerry Manuel was almost like superstition. He wanted to keep that lineup against the right-handers. That's with Murphy in that 4th hole. But when they went up against the left-handers, he pushed Murphy down in that lineup, and certainly not as productive. I think they're going to try to get back. Murphy's going to be back in that 4th slot. And listen, if this lineup doesn't come through, you always have Gary Sheffield coming off the disabled list tomorrow. But going to try to generate a little more offense in that 5-game winning streak. They played about as good a team offense as they have all year.
One thing that continued last night, despite the loss, the Mets have been getting outstanding starting pitching. Last night, Livan Hernandez wound up with a no decision, but yet another well-pitched game.
Yeah, and he only went 81 pitches, and he probably could have pitched deeper into the game, but there was a shot with the bases loaded to get a run for Livan. It didn't work out when Baroa grounded out. The whole staff has really done a nice job. The last 63 innings pitched, they've only given up 16 runs, and Jerry and the entire Mets organization knows only way they're going to make a run is with their pitching.
And the guy who is tasked with trying to keep that going tonight is the erratic Oliver Perez.
Well, you know, when you think about it, he's had a tough start, and you want him to do well, but you know what? All the bets are off. I mean, he signed a huge contract. It's time for him to come through. They need their pitching. They need Oliver to continue the good streak of pitching.
And for the Diamondbacks tonight, one of the more impressive arms in Major League Baseball, young Max Scherzer.
Well, he came up with such a plum in a little over 4 innings in his first outing, struck out 7. He's got 111 strikeouts this year. That's almost a 3-to-1 ratio. His record might be only 6-6, but he's been much better in his 19 starts.
So Oliver Perez for the Mets, Max Scherzer for the Diamondbacks. Second game of 4 between the Mets and Arizona. Beautiful night in New York. Come on back. All the action coming up on Pix 11. Infiniti luxury cars that inspire at every turn. The SAP portion of today's broadcast is brought to you by LATV, the Pix digital alternative. Check out the variety LATV has to offer. Follow the Mets on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009. I know I do. Featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Mets.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. Or at least I would if I had an iPhone or an iPod Touch. Who's Hot is brought to you by Tri-State Ford. Aramis Ramirez, whom the Cubs were bereft without, has helped the Cubs since his return from the disabled list, sitting .550 over the last 8 games. Clayton Kershaw didn't get a decision his last start for the Dodgers, but 8 shutout innings in that game. And Johnny Peralta hoping to boost an offense that has lost one of its main cogs now with the trade of Victor Martinez in Cleveland.
Well, Kershaw has been outstanding. Still not going deep in the games, though. That's why the Dodgers had to go after George Sherrill. And Ramirez, of course, always the backbone of that lineup when he bats fourth behind Derek Lee.
Sherrill came in the 7th last night for the Dodgers to help preserve Jason Schmidt's win over the Braves. First pitch from Citi Field coming right up. Changes against the lefty tonight. He's sitting down Stephen Drew and basically playing every right-handed bat available to him. Justin Upton, the only hitter in the Diamondbacks lineup who's had success against lefties this year. The rest of the Diamondbacks team, other than Upton, is hitting just .221 against left-handers this year.
You know, not only are right-handers doing a little better job hitting against Oliver Perez, who's starting tonight for the New York Mets, but also that is where a lot of the power against Oliver has come from, is those right-handed hitters trying to get inside. You can see his numbers. He would love to just blow up this screen because you do not like to see these numbers. More hits than innings pitched, more walks and strikeouts. But that being said, the pitching staff has been at a great rate. This is a chance for Oliver to say to himself, let me put together 2 stellar months, the final months of the season, and make up for all this ill play. Now look at the defense is brought to you by ChevyOffers.com, and you can see Pagan flanked by Sullivan in front court. That's Sullivan's 7th start in left field. Right, Cora Castillo, and can you believe it? Murphy started 10 grounded into double plays, 1 from home to first yesterday. This is his 47th game at first base, and Schneider so far throwing out 35% of the would-be base stealers.
And good to see Brian Schneider back in the lineup. He missed the last 3 days. He took a cortisone shot in his knee, and He's got a little bursitis in there, a little patella tendonitis, but nothing structurally wrong, and Brian feels as though he should be good to go for the next 2 months.
Well, that's what happens when you squat with the equipment on from age 6 to whatever age.
He said he felt for Omir Santos having to catch 3 games in 2 days. He said, I used to be able to do that. Now, Jerry Manuel hoping that the Mets can turn it on over the last 2 months of the season, hoping to get some reinforcements back. One of the players he hopes to have back, Carlos Beltran, was out on the field taking batting practice today. That's a step forward for Carlos.
Yeah, it was very impressive. There's the manager, A.J. Hinch. There's the tattoo of Ryan Roberts. But Jerry said something very interesting today, well, the last couple of days, because he reasserted it today. He feels as though if this team can stay within 4 or 5 games with 30 to 40 left, they can make their run. And they should have everyone healthy by then.
Ryan Roberts leads things off, 0 for 3 in the game last night. Just the 5th time he has batted leadoff this year. He's taken over as the regular second baseman, and he takes a strike. Took over when Felipe Lopez was traded to Milwaukee. Roberts, a former Blue Jay, had a little cup of coffee in Texas as well. 1-1 to Roberts. Roberts sitting at 258, 2 home runs. He's hit .316 against lefties, so he's held his own. And he fouls one back. Limited playing time.
You get a chance, Gary, to ask him what that tattoo is all about. In my family, my father has the biggest tattoo from the military you've ever seen on his left arm. He used to tell all of myself and my brothers, don't ever get a tattoo. It's the most embarrassing thing he's ever done. I never got one. My brothers were all tatted up.
There you go. Nature versus nurture. Swing and a miss. He got him with the off-speed pitch. Nice to see Ali throwing that split change early on for the first out.
Well, I watched the display today, and it was quite impressive. Remember, it's his right knee. So I would always think that from the left side would be the most difficult, because that's your plant leg. That's the one really that you almost hyperextend when you lead with it. But from the right side, I thought he was in mid-season form, the way he was hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, that's the good news. The question on Beltran is not going to be about how he swings the bat. As Jerry Manuel said the question is how much pain can he withstand when he gets in motion. And that's going to be what is going to dictate whether Carlos is going to be able to come back anytime soon. Gerardo Parra hitting second in the order, fouls it back, and it's 0-2.
But the optimism has to be there because of one thing. He finally got a player on the field doing baseball activities. That's something that has not been very optimistic for the other 2 core players.
Well, the thing about it is that Beltran is basically trying against doctor's orders. I mean, the bruise in his knee has not gotten any smaller, not from any tests that's been taken to date. But he feels as though he played through the pain for about 3 weeks in June before he finally shut it down, and maybe he can do that again.
Well, those are things that you always admire. You want your superstars to beyond the odds get back out there, and I think that Carlos has watched this team battle, show some great gamesmanship and staying afloat, and I think he'd like to be some of the addition that'll help this team.
Parra lifts one foul. That'll go out of play.
You know, Jerry was talking about early in the season, wasn't he, Gary, about you would hate for the core players to come back and feel like they have to do doubly what they can do normally. You want them to come back when the team is close, they can play their part and only add to the success of the team, and that's what I think Jerry and the whole Mets organization would like to see happen.
1-2 to Parra, the 22-year-old rookie left fielder, and he fouls one back. And then when you get those players back, I mean, they all will have been out for extended periods of time, 2 months or more. The question is, what are you getting back? Are you getting back the real Reyes, Beltran, and Delgado, or some fraction of that? One-two from Ollie, and a foul back again.
I think the team on the field tonight can do a big part in knowing what you're going to get back in this way. If they play well, if they continue to score like they had through that 5-game winning streak and win 3 out of every 5 or 4 out of every 6, then you can allow those core players to get some more work and get some more game tested. So when they come back, you're going to get closer to 100% than you would if you just threw them out there and hoped.
Parra's done a great job fighting off some tough pitches. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. And he got it with a slider. So Oliver Perez with back-to-back strikeouts to start the night.
You always have to like when you have a contact hitter like Parra, an up-and-coming good hitter, take a swing like that. And that's how that slider. A lot of people will say, we watched Doug Davis last night with that big breaking ball. Say, boy, that looks attractive. You know what's more attractive? When you can't tell the break of the slider, how late it is. That's what that pitch was there.
This is the guy that Ollie's got to be wary of. The one guy in the Arizona lineup who's feasted on lefties this year and having a great year, Justin Upton, at just 21 years old, hitting .385 against left-handers. And Upton pops the first one foul out of play. I mean, you look at the Diamondbacks on paper, and they should be the perfect opponent for Oliver Perez for 2 reasons. One, we've already mentioned their prowess or lack thereof against lefties, but also the fact that most of these Diamondbacks have not seen Ollie before.
They haven't seen him. They're also free swingers. They strike out a lot. They go out of the strike zone. All of those things play into Ollie's hands.
1-1 to Upton.
The team that Ollie does not want to see is the patient team, the team that waits him out, that will not swing at any pitches, that goes into the game and says, you know what, we're not going to swing at your slider until you prove you can throw it for strikes.
But you know what the funny part about that is? Look at all the success he had when he was going well against the Phillies and the Yankees. Yeah. Hit in the air to deep left field. Gone if it stays fair, and that ball is flying a long way into the second deck. A tremendous blast by Justin Upton for his 20th home run of the year. Well, the one guy Ollie had to be wary of is more wary now. 1-0 Arizona.
Wow, what a bomb that was. Fastball trying to come in, middle, and Upton with that extension drops the bat because that was a no doubt about it. Hit that ball right out in front. Towering shot to left field. Hey, Mom, I got a ball today. You did? I thought you were sitting in the second deck. I was. Just to have this guy, Justin Upton, who got all of it. Cringe by Ollie.
8th home run Oliver's given up in 44 innings this year. Now Mark Reynolds, who homered last night, is 29th, and a good backdoor breaking ball by Perez, 1-1. Reynolds, 29 home runs, 69 RBIs, and an incredible 140 strikeouts. On pace to break his own major league record. And another breaking ball for a strike, 1-2.
Okay, what's interesting, the last couple of days, incredibly humid here. Now, 5 of the 6 home runs have been just no doubt about it, long home runs. But Reynolds yesterday was more of a long line drive right in center field that got out. So with this humid weather, the ball's starting to get out a little more.
Reynolds bounces one foul, although Reynolds said after the game, he said if we were in Arizona, it would have been gone by 30 feet.
Yeah.
He said here it went in the front row. He said I'll take it. Because all the Diamondbacks were coming in before the game yesterday and looking at this ballpark and just marveling at the size of it.
Well, I think Chase Field is 3rd or 4th as far as home runs allowed. Where I can really tell is all you have to do is watch batting practice. We sit up here and prepare. You watch batting practice, and the balls are getting into the stands now.
2-2 now to Reynolds. And he struck him out on a breaking ball. So Perez strikes out 3 in the inning. But in between, Justin Upton crushes one to give the Diamondbacks the early lead. First run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin', and Upton could jog with his 20th home run of the year. Mets come up in the bottom of the first, down 1-0. Lineup that produced the 5-game winning streak with Corey Sullivan in left field and Daniel Murphy in the cleanup spot. Brian Schneider back from missing the last 3 games after taking a cortisone shot in his knee. David Wright riding a 10-game hitting streak, and the Mets trying to get it revved up against 25-year-old Max Scherzer.
Well, he has been outstanding all year, and you say, how can he be outstanding? He's 6-6. Well, they have not scored a lot of runs for him. 15 of his 19 starts, he's given up 3 earned runs or less. And you see those punch-outs, 111, very impressive.
His last start, 7 scoreless innings against the Pirates, didn't walk a batter and won the game 9-0. Angel Pagan takes a strike from Scherzer. Pagan has cooled off a bit, hitless in his last 8 at-bats, hitting at .288 for the year. When the Mets were in their winning streak, he and Castillo were getting aboard regularly, and that was a big part of the Mets' offensive run. And the last couple of days, Pagan and Castillo have gone hitless, and the Mets have lost both those games. 1-2 to Pagan.
The Mets, to me, with this lineup, when they face pitchers that are a little reticent to throw the ball in the strike zone, that have a little fear, they really work the count and they do a nice job. It's the guys that go right after them that the next thing you know, they're 4 innings in and only have a couple of hits. They're trying to work the count, but you can't get against the guy who's throwing strikes.
Scherzer goes down with the slider, and it's 2-2. Max Scherzer, 25 years old, grew up in St. Louis. Made a big league debut with a bang last year, a relief outing against the Astros in which he went 4 1/3 perfect innings. In there for a called strike 3, got Pagan looking at the fastball, and that's the first out for Scherzer and the D-backs.
Well, a look at the defense is brought to you by ChevyOffers.com for this Diamondbacks. Power in left field. Young can go get it in center, and Upton, of course, in right. 7 outfield errors, though, as he's still learning. Reynolds, Ojeda, Robertson, Tracy, Stephen Drew getting the night off at shortstop. And Chris Snyder has been the #1 catcher here for the last 3 seasons, but now sharing time with Montero.
Here's Castillo, 0 for his last 7, and he takes a strike. Louis' batting average slipping just under 300 to 299, but he had a tremendous month of July. Mets went 12-14 in July, a strange month. Toward the hole and run down by Roberts, and he makes the toss in time to get Castillo 2 away. I mean, the Mets had one of the worst stretches they've had in recent memory, where they got shut out 5 times in a 13-game span. You look at that nice play by Roberts again. But they also had the 5-game winning streak toward the end of the month, and after a 9-18 June, July was a little better at 12-14.
It's a bummer, though, when you're talking about 12-14 as being a little better, but you're right.
Well, at least it has helped them stay in contact,
afloat
in the wild card race. And, you know, they still have an enormous amount of work to do. 6.5 out with 7 teams in front of them. 60 games to play. Here's David Wright with 2 out and nobody on, and David swings at the fastball. So after Scherzer threw first pitch fastballs for strikes to the first 2 hitters, David went up there in attack mode.
Well, what's interesting is to see David Wright last night. A little cutter slider from Doug Davis, and a long home run to left field. First pitch of the game, fastball to Pagan, 92 miles an hour. First pitch to Castillo, 93 miles an hour to start for strike. First one to right, 94. So he's building up.
And the second one, 97. So he's getting loose.
For you people at home, although Scherzer's only 25 years old, these are the nights that you love to throw. Everything just feels warm and loose, and you can feel like you can throw at maximum.
And David takes one on the outside corner, according to Jim Reynolds, 3-2.
Well, that to me is a ball, but Reynolds is going to call that ball, give him a couple of inches on that outside corner. Although he throws crossfire, so when you throw from the third base kind of side of the mound, that ball's cutting across that plate.
3-2, and he misses outside, ball 4, and Wright's on with a 2-out walk. 60th walk that David has drawn this year. That's in the top 10 in the league.
He walked in his first at-bat last night. First 2 at-bats, did David.
Well, Davis wanted no part of the first 2 at-bats, and then showed why when he gave up the home run leading off the 6th.
He said, I should have stuck to my game plan. Although Doug Davis did a fine job working around those 6 walks.
Not too many pitchers can do that. walk 6 and give up just 1 run. Here's Daniel Murphy, or he gave up 2, 1 to Murphy and 1 to Wright, both on home runs. Murphy hit one off the right field foul pole his first time up last night for his 6th home run of the year. Daniel hitting at 247. Scherzer's done a decent job controlling the running game. 7 steals against him in 11 tries. For a lot of young pitchers, that's probably the last thing to come, isn't it? Controlling that running game.
Controlling the running game, because you're so intent on getting the hitter out. And remember, a lot of these young pitchers that come up, much acclaimed like a Scherzer, they spend a lot of time, Gary, never pitching with anyone on base. They strike out the world before they come up here.
Almost took the thumbs off Daniel Murphy, 2-1.
Well, there's a couple different ways to hold runners on. One is basic instincts, and that's what Jerry has tried to do with some of his pitchers like Levon, Pedro in the past. If you don't have those instincts, then a manager will put the signs on, because that'll take it out of your hands. Then you can just concentrate on the hitter. So when you see the sign from the catcher to throw over, you take a deep breath and you just make the throw over with no thought towards the hitter.
Murphy fooled by that high fastball, 2-2.
What do instincts mean? Instincts mean, as you see, Murph missed this high fastball. I could go into ready to throw the ball to the plate and then take a peek over my shoulder and see he's taking another step. Those instincts tell you to throw the ball over. That's how you control the running game.
Just missed, 3-2. So I guess the question is it possible for a manager or coach from the bench to do as good a job as a pitcher on his own?
No. A pitcher at his best can control the running game better than a manager. A lot of these pitchers, though, don't want to deal with that anymore.
Wright will run, 3-2 and 2 down. And Murphy hits one to right center field. Easy play for Chris Young. And that retires the side. So Max Scherzer gets the Mets out of the bottom of the first. Oliver Perez back to the mound for the second. 1-0 Arizona.
Want. Take a walk on the wild side, more walks than strikeouts. That usually never occurs for Oliver Perez. And Battle of the K's. The Mets do not strike out as a lineup. 111 punch-outs for Scherzer. And the Mets are all right. Almost paraphrasing the kids are all right, as David's hit over 500 in this 5-game homestand.
Those might have been the best keys to the game of the year.
They were the best, by far. By far.
Chris Snyder leading off, recently back from the disabled list. He came back Tuesday, hit a home run Wednesday. And Ollie misses outside, 2-0. Ali struck out 3 in the first inning, wrapped around a home run by Justin Upton. No walks in that first inning for Ali. He came out throwing strikes tonight. In fact, that is 18 strikes in 25 pitches so far for Perez.
He looks very much in control so far. You know, the body parts aren't flying all over the field. He's got a nice tunnel from the mound to the plate. I know Danny Worthen, the pitching coach, working hard with Oliver every time in between it starts. That was nice to see. 2-0 fastball on the outside corner. That right there is a 2-1 split finger, but I like this motion. It's a little more compact. Just that nice high leg kick, the release point, and that nice arm slot, which is kind of 3/4 for Oliver. That stiff front leg, and then nice fielding position. Very nice.
Up foul back. You know, he threw that split to strike out Roberts in the first inning, threw another good one there. I was talking with Brian Schneider about Oliver and his splitter, and he said, I'm going to call that pitch early in the game, and even if the first 3 or 4 he doesn't throw it well, I'm going to keep calling it because he might need it in a big spot later.
Well, it's all these right-handed hitters, and I think that's the key pitch for him. As he's gotten along, now he's still a young pitcher, but if you're not throwing 93, 94, and you're throwing more like 90, 91, then you need 3 pitches. And I think a good thing when you're going through the lineup, if you have a little reticence about throwing your third pitch, use it at the bottom of the lineup. You know, naturally you always have the pitcher coming up. Blaze the fastball by him and then bounce one.
2-2 to Snyder. And the slider, did he go? Nope, held it in time. Fielding Colberth with the call, 3-2.
Good late slider. No, good job by Chris Snyder. He held that bat back.
Eighth pitch of the at bat from Perez. And Snyder pulls it foul.
You know, it's interesting. Chris Snyder really got that starting job, Gary, by becoming kind of the catcher for Brandon Webb. And they worked so well together that Snyder got more and more playing time. Now Brandon Webb, of course, trying to mend, and Snyder has not hit enough.
And the problem the Diamondbacks have is they gave Snyder a 3-year contract for about $15 million this past winter, and now he's basically the backup. 3-2, and the breaking ball just missed, ball 4. So Snyder draws a leadoff walk, the first by Ali tonight. Oliver Perez starting play today, 9 starts, 42 walks in 43 2/3 innings. That is 8.7 walks per 9 innings. To put that in perspective, only 2 other pitchers in Mets history have had that high a walk ratio through any 9-start span. Nolan Ryan did it back when he was trying to find himself in 70 and 71 at a 9-start stretch where he averaged over 9 walks per 9 innings. Good knockdown by Schneider. And Rick Ownby, who was part of the trade for Keith Hernandez in 82 and 83, had just over 8 walks per 9 innings over a 9-start stretch. And of course, leadoff walks will kill you.
Almost half the time they come home. Very unusual. That did not look good. That's the first pitch he's thrown from the stretch. Missed badly, did Oliver.
And for any pitcher, isn't it the first time you pitch out of the stretch is an automatic adjustment?
It is. It definitely is. And it shouldn't be, you say to yourself, boy, you've pitched over and over. It should be the same. It just isn't. It takes a couple of pitches sometimes to find your range. You know, Young's a guy, though, that's been struggling. The only time he's going to get you is when you get in a position where you're 2-0 and have to throw a fastball.
Pops this one up to shallow right for Frank Coor. And just squeezes it for the first out. So 1 out and 1 on. And now Chad Tracy coming up. You know, it seems almost nonsensical to ask, as you just mentioned, but you know, when you're warming up at the start of an inning, do you ever pitch out of the stretch?
Always. The last 2 I would always throw from the stretch because I just wanted to have that feel, not only at the beginning of the game, but during the middle of the game. Sometimes the hole in front of the mound or where you land changes, and you want to see in the stretch if there's any problem with the mound.
Strike call to Chad Tracy.
Early in my career, when I had trouble throwing from the stretch, I would work pitching out of the stretch in between starts. That's all I would do because the windup was easy. I could always get that. It was pitching from the stretch, which was hard, and I always had a big leg kick. I had to get rid of that because of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's why I had to get rid of that.
It would exploit your running game.
It looks like both pitchers are stepping in different spots. You can see the one towards first base is Oliver as he throws across his body.
Will every pitcher necessarily hit the same landing spot out of the stretch that he will out of the windup?
You should. You should be pretty close. It might be a little shorter out of the windup. You can see that's Oliver's spot right there. That first one towards first base. And the one on the other side, that's Scherzer, who throws a little across his body, so his step is to the third base side.
Good breaking ball for a strike. By the way, beautiful spot shot. I'm very impressed.
I'm telling you, by I don't know, if I can do the shot 6-7 more years, I will be on top of it.
Well, when Keith's here, he doesn't let you near the telestrator.
Well, he blocks it with his body. I mean, it's like getting around Charles Barkley in 1987. And no shot.
1-2 to Tracy. Breaking ball struck him out. Fourth strikeout for Oliver Perez, and that's the second out of the inning.
Well, this is what you love to see from Oliver, is that he's got that strikeout pitch working. He's really dominated the left-handed hitters. And watch where he steps. Right on that spot. And the one thing he does different than just about any pitcher I've ever seen is, you know how in hockey, when you want to stop skating, you kind of turn your skates and put them sideways to stop on the ice? His front foot is like that. It's almost like a brace stopping him from getting through, as opposed to that front foot should be stepping right towards the catcher.
Augie Ojeda hitting 8th in the order. Murphy playing behind Snyder, who is lead-footed. Ojeda hitting at .220, getting the start at shortstop tonight, and he drills one deep down the left field line, but foul. Ojeda, not a power hitter, but he put a lot of sock into that one.
Jerry, here's what I was talking about with Oliver that's very unusual, is that he throws across his body, but watch what happens when he lands. Instead of the foot pointing right at Schneider, see where it is? It braces up against that spot, and it's almost like it prevents him from getting that back foot over, so he almost recoils backwards after he throws the pitch, as opposed to getting his backside through the pitch. That's the unusual thing. One of the unusual things about his delivery.
Now, is that something he's always done?
Always done and always will do and never can change, because it's just part of his pitching DNA.
I mean, ideally, you want to be stepping straight toward home plate.
Well, the best was Maddox. Maddox would scratch a spot where he wanted to stand with that open foot pointing right at the outside corner every single time.
Up and away to Ojeda, and it's 3-1. Holly facing a hitter, a switch hitter, who is 4 for 42 as a right-hand batter this year. It's a guy you've got to throw strikes to. Diamondbacks lead 1-0 on Justin Upton's first inning home run. 3-1 to Ojeda, and he walked him. So second walk of the inning, and that'll get the pitcher Scherzer to the plate, and he is not a bad hitter.
Jerry's head down now. You don't like to see that because you want the pitcher to lead off the inning. But, you know, Ojeda really made his mark, Gary, in 2007. Orlando Hudson went down with the broken wrist. Ojeda came in and played admirably at second base.
Played in the postseason for them that year as they went to the National League Championship Series. Well, here's Scherzer, 7 hits this year and a .219 batting average. 2 out and 2 on. And Scherzer takes a cut at the fastball, 0-1. Max Scherzer out of the University of Missouri.
They've had a few good players come out of there, haven't they?
They had a '69 Met from the University of Missouri. Art Shamsky.
Oh, Sham, that's right. No, that boy, that's embarrassing. Sham, one of my good friends. I remember I played against a guy, Phil Bradley, who was a quarterback for the Mizzou team. And I know from my 1967 impossible dream year with the Red Sox, they had a guy named Sonny Siebert that went to Missouri.
Of more recent vintage, the fine Texas second baseman Ian Kinsler out of Missouri. Swing and a miss, 1-2 to Scherzer. He looks like a hitter, doesn't he?
Yes. Got a nice short stroke. We'll see what it looks like, though, if Oliver puts a little wrinkle in it, a little slider.
That's how he looked. Swinging at the pitch in the dirt. Schneider throws it down to first to complete the putout. That's 5 strikeouts, first time through the batting order for Oliver Perez. Now the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the second with Jeff Francoeur to lead it off, trailing 1-0. Dealer on ChevyOffers.com. Oh, it has been a gorgeous day. Perfect day to be sitting out on the veranda, as I'm sure Keith is right now, having a little small glass of wine.
Very nice.
Enjoying what promises to be a thrilling sunset.
Doesn't have to be small, Derek.
I would have a small one.
There you go. There you go.
But this is just a perfect summer day.
Yes, it is.
Humidity not oppressive.
Well, it's one of those days that you just have to love, because anyone here in the Northeast, this has been a summer to, boy, write home about. I've never seen a summer like this.
Jeff Francoeur leads off the home second and lifts one to shallow right, where Justin Upton is patrolling. 1 pitch and 1 out for Scherzer. I will say this about this beautiful day. Everybody in the New York metropolitan area was going somewhere, because I ran into every single one of them trying to get to the ballpark today.
By the way, I had to come from Connecticut today. I had to do something in Greenwich, what a town that is. But I had to come your way. You and our producer Greg Picker, you guys always take the Whitestone Bridge.
Yes,
over.
we do.
I'm through with it after one day. Man, oh man.
You may not believe this. I'm going to tell you quite honestly.
Okay.
The Whitestone Bridge over the last few years has been great. Now, normally, Friday afternoons is a little tough, but now Saturdays have become worse than Fridays. Maybe it's because people are staying closer to home and making day trips rather than going away for the weekend during the summer. But it's been unbelievable. A couple of Saturday night games we've had. Corey Sullivan up with 1 out. And he takes ball 3 from Scherzer.
Lucky I had Yanni on. I'm telling you, I would have ripped someone's head off.
Less traffic out on the bridge there in right center. 3-0, and Sullivan walks on 4 pitches. So there's the second walk given up by Scherzer. So 1 out and 1 on. Our crack statistician Dave Freed points out, we showed that stat before about the frequency with which leadoff walks scored. He points out last night there were 13 walks, none of them scored. Met pitchers walked 6, Diamondback pitchers walked 7. This is the 4th walk in this game, and so far nobody scored. Mets try and change that now with Alex Cora at the plate. Alex 5 hits in the last 3 games, and he takes a strike.
I think of Scherzer. He reminds me a little bit of PV without the movement. Throws a little harder than PV. Maybe a kind of a young Brett Saberhagen. Doesn't have the control of Brett.
A few did, or ever have. Hit hard. A base hit for Cora into right field. That'll chase Sullivan to third. Upton gets over, cuts it off as Cora heads to second, and the Mets have second and third and 1 out. Alex Cora with his 10th double of the year. Mets have their first hit of the night.
Well, I lost that one. What was that? A ground rule double? Because once the ball went down in the corner, this is a beautiful swing by Alex Cora. You won't see him pull many fastballs, but he did right down that corner. And Upton gets against the wall. Sullivan doesn't have to look. He'll pick up Razor shines. Once he picks up Razor, of course, he can shut it down at third base. And Alex with that picture perfect turn. Hands pumping. Double for Alex.
So second and third and 1 out. The 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Infield back for the Diamondbacks. Brian Schneider returning to the lineup tonight, hitting just .208, and he takes ball 1.
Well, they're giving you a run. You've got to get this run in. You want to get a base hit and knock in 2, but the worst that can happen, ground ball to second base or to shortstop and get this 1 run in, as we see this ballpark, Citi Field, turned into Petco Park or Dodger Stadium.
A rare beach ball at Citi Field.
That's about
Chad getting into more face time.
That's about the size of the ball I was throwing, Gary, in 1995. Looked like that.
So you know it's close to the end, right?
That's right.
2 in scoring position for Schneider. And Brian takes a strike. Only 2 places on the ground you can hit it where you don't get a run in. Third base and the pitcher. Tapper foul, and now Scherzer, a strikeout pitcher who needs a strikeout, is ahead 1-2.
Interesting if you're sitting on the bench of the Mets. Gets in a tough situation, second and third with 1 out. He threw a slider backdoor to Schneider and then came back with a changeup. So it looks like he likes to go with his breaking stuff in the middle of the at-bat, and once he gets ahead, then maybe he'll pop a fastball in.
And now with 2 strikes, the infield comes in. 1-2. Struck him out with a fastball. 97 from Scherzer for his second strikeout of the night. And that is the entire inning right there.
Young pitcher, veteran pitching. Good breaking balls early in the count. Got Brian off that fastball and then just aired 1 out and threw it by him.
Now he's well on his way to getting through this jam with Oliver Perez coming up. Ollie, though, hitting .308 this year. 4 for 13.
It's not against laying 1 down. We've seen him do that before with 2 outs.
And both the corners are in. Wary of that. Ball 1 to Ollie.
If I'm Jerry and I'm giving the signs of Razor shines, you don't even have to give a sign. Just look at Oliver and put your hand up like a stop sign. Please take this next pitch. Make him throw you a strike. The defense. Outfield shallow, of course.
See Tracy and Reynolds in at the corners. And Ollie taking all the way. There's a strike. 1-1. Now it's 2-1 to Perez. You want taking another pitch here?
Well, if he decides to take a pitch, don't take a pitch for you young kids at home trying to waggle the bat like you're bunting. Take the pitch like you would take it if you were hitting. Look the ball all the way into the glove. That'll give you a better shot when you see a pitch down the middle of the strike zone. But no, I don't want to take a one. Swing the bat.
And he does, and misses the fastball 2-2.
The reason I'm saying that is because this kid just throws too hard. You can't wait for 2 strikes and let him throw one by you. Oliver a little late, but he's got the pose. That's the opposite of the Heisman. I don't know what you'd call that.
Lozman? Wasted that one away.
Very nice.
A nice cheer from the crowd for that foul ball.
This kid's throwing 97 miles an hour. Nice at bat by Oliver. You never know. Put it in play. Something good could happen.
Oh, he had a game last year in which he drove in a couple of runs against Texas. Base hit here could play to pair. 2-2 to Perez. And he grounds one down to third. Reynolds handles it, and the side retired. So the Mets get a couple into scoring position and leave them there. We head for the third at Citi Field, 1-0 Diamondbacks. Fios. Next Sunday on the Picks Game of the Week, the Mets swing by the West Coast looking to keep their second half surge alive in San Diego. Follow the Mets from now till October right here on Picks. The Mets battle the Padres next Sunday at 4 on Picks. Second time around the batting order, Ryan Roberts takes a slider for a strike. Roberts struck out to open the ball game. Oliver Perez striking out 5 over the first 2 innings. But a Justin Upton home run accounting for the only run of the game, as Roberts lifts one foul, and it's 0-2. The Diamondbacks 13 games under 500 and buried in the National League West. They're not in last place. They're 3.5 games in front of the Padres, who all of a sudden have won 4 in a row. A.J. Hinch took over as the manager of the D-backs back on May the 8th after Bob Melvin was fired. And it's a team that's, I guess you could say they're a little caught in between. They're a veteran pitching team with the exception of Scherzer, a young offensive team. But when you lose your ace Cy Young Award candidate after his opening day start, it kind of puts a damper on your entire season, and that's what happened to the D-backs. To the right side, Castillo can't get to it, and Roberts has a base hit. Second hit for Arizona. But it's been very strange to watch this Arizona team evolve over the last few years, because they've had so much young talent come through there, from Reynolds and Upton to Carlos Quentin and Stephen Drew and on and on and on. And they just, as a group, they haven't quite developed the way everybody expected them to.
Well, I think they had a core group and didn't realize it. Connor Jackson, of course, who had an outstanding season last year, of course, has, what does he have?
Valley fever.
Valley fever. So kind of a pneumonia, right? And he was a big part of their offensive production last season. And then you and I were talking about this before. They had a decision to make. Eric Burns gave them a lot on and off the field in leadership, decided to sign him to a large contract. He had to play an outfield position, so they traded Carlos Quentin. Carlos Quentin last year was, until he got hurt, one of the top 3 for the MVP vote in the American League for the White Sox.
Slow roller past Murphy. Castillo fields. All he has to cover and out. Safe at first base. Pirate with the head first slide. And first base umpire Fielding Culbreth rules him safe. That's an infield hit.
Well, as soon as Murphy dove, it had to be Oliver's play. It looked like he got a little late start to first base, and Castillo put a little too much air under this throw. Watch, Parra just gets underneath and gets that bag right before the right foot of Oliver Perez. Good call by Fielding Culbreth. Let's see if he gets over in time. That little delay cost him, because if he didn't delay, Castillo could have thrown a sharper throw to him, and he would have had him easily.
So the first 2 aboard for the Diamondbacks, and now Justin Upton, who crushed a home run his first time up, his 20th of the year. Big spot for Perez, and he throws a first pitch slider for a strike. First run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And that's one that Justin Upton could admire into the second deck in left field.
You know, I was never a big fan of a guy admiring a home run, but if you give up one like that, he's got every right to. I mean, boy.
It's when they admire the wall scrapers.
There you go.
That you need to get upset.
Or when a guy's not a home run hitter. I mean, I call that the lawless factor.
Tom Lawless?
There you go.
What did he do that against?
Frankie V. Minnesota. In St. Louis against Frankie Viola.
In the World Series.
In the World Series, 87.
Two and one now to Upton.
That's unfair getting on Tommy. He was an outstanding player. Just that he had a shiny moment and wanted to experience it and enjoy it.
One shining moment.
Well,
two and one to Upton, and he bounces one. 3-1. Oliver needs a double play ball, but that has not been his forte so far this year. 59 opportunities with a runner at first base. Only 1 double play grounder for Oliver this season. He had 15 double play grounders last year, but he's always been much more of a fly ball than a ground ball pitcher.
Well, again, in a fastball situation, will he try to come in again? That cost him last at bat, or try to stay away? He's going away.
And it's ripped into left field for a base hit. Roberts goes to third. He'll be held up there as Sullivan misses the cutoff man, but Schneider able to move over, and Oliver Perez in the right spot to back up. 3 straight hits, though, have loaded the bases with nobody out, and Mark Reynolds coming up.
Gary, did you say in the first inning that Oliver was going to have to account for Upton tonight? Well, you were very prescient, because that fastball trying to go away, more up and down the middle, and Upton smokes that to left. Hit it so hard that Roberts could not score. Chip Hale with a hold at third base.
Nice to see Ollie in the right place.
Yes,
there.
backing up. Nice play by Schneider, keeping that ball in front.
But now he's got himself a pickle to work himself out of. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the very dangerous Mark Reynolds coming to the plate. Reynolds struck out his first time up, but homered last night, and in the National League, only Albert Pujols has more home runs than Mark Reynolds.
Well, I think, Danny, if Dan Worth and what he would say to Oliver here, say, listen, okay, things look dire, but here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Reynolds strikes out all the time. So let's throw a first pitch strike. Let's get through him. We can really work a punch out here. And then we have the catcher Schneider on deck, who cannot run very fast. They have a chance at the double play. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can get through this inning without giving up a run.
Mets infield back, and Reynolds swings and misses at a first pitch slider. 0-1. 29th home run last night for Reynolds, a new career high. Last year, his first full season in the majors, he hit 28. Chris Snyder, the catcher, hitting 5th in the order on deck. Started him off with a slider, comes back with a splitter. 1-1.
Very aggressive hitter, Reynolds. I think you have to stay with the breaking ball here until you get ahead. Then you can go upstairs with the fastball.
And the slider backdoors it for a strike, and it's 1-2.
Great pitching, Oliver. Finish it off now. Use the breaking ball down and in to get the first strike. Try 2 backdoor. This one working on the 3rd pitch. Just a perfect pitch, catching that front corner. Now you can do anything he wants. You can bounce one down and in. You can throw a fastball head high outside. We saw him swing through some pitches against Livan Hernandez at 84 that he could not catch up with.
1-2. Struck him out. So Perez strikes out Reynolds for the 2nd time, his 6th strikeout of the night. 1 out of the inning.
And really, this is something we really wanted to see. Watch Snyder. Wants that ball upstairs. Oliver added a couple miles an hour up there. No chance for Reynolds. That was as good a pitching sequence I've seen from Oliver all season long.
So he's a 1/3 of the way through. Now he's got to take on Chris Snyder, who is a big-time double play candidate. Walked his first time up tonight. Hitting just 189 with runners in scoring position this year. Any ground ball, you've got a pretty fair chance of doubling up Snyder. And he hits a ground ball to short. Cora smothers it, gets the out at second. Castillo the turn, scooped by Murphy, double play. Oh, wow! 6-4-3, and Perez gets himself out of the jam. The Diamondbacks have the bases loaded and nobody out, and they do not score.
What a play by Cora. And the turn.
And Murphy with the scoop at the end. 3 terrific plays, all helping out Perez, and why not pump your fist? Keeps it a 1-0 game.
Can or smother it. He does, lands on that thumb. The veteran takes a peek at third and then decides with the catcher running, let's start the double play. Great job by Castillo using that bag to shield himself from Upton. And then Murphy, who worked at least 20 minutes today on the scoop play at first base. It comes through in tonight's ball game with a beautiful stretch and a scoop. 6-4-3.
That is more than a pitcher's best friend. That's best friend forever. Here's Angel Pagan leading off the home third.
You know, it's kind of funny. I just catch myself. I'm laughing at myself because being a former pitcher, I got excited watching that 6-4-3, almost putting myself back in time.
Pagan rolls one down to first where Chad Tracy is on it. And that's the first out for Max Scherzer in the third. So Scherzer's retired the leadoff hitter 3 straight innings. 1 out and nobody on for Castillo. Castillo grounded one to second base his first time up. You talked about Castillo using the bag for protection. Is that a matter of how much time he thinks the play is going to take to develop?
They all have this inner clock, and Castillo has as great instincts as anyone that's ever, played that position of recent note. So he knows that once Alex goes to his knees, has a hard time getting up and making the hard throw, he knows that Upton, who is built like a football player, is going to come in and is going to try to barrel him over. Best way to use the bag to protect. And then the only problem with that is you're not going to get as much on the throw and need some help from Murphy, and he got it.
And we talk all the time about the hitter being a key in a double play, how fast he runs, but sometimes it's also important how fast the guy at first can run.
Absolutely, and Upton can fly, so that's why Castillo used that judgment to use the bag. But you have to get that. I mean, first base, if you play first base, you're going to get those plays, and you got to make those plays. That can lift up an entire team, an entire offense in the next inning.
Certainly lifted the crowd up. Here's the 2-2, slap to third, and Reynolds in front of it, slings it over to first for the second out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Acura. Acura, advance. So Scherzer looking for his first 1-2-3 inning.
As advertised, this young man has some outstanding stuff. Great makeup, good body language.
David Wright walked his first time up. See that on base percentage up to .419 now. David's 4th in the league in on base percentage, 3rd in the league in batting average. In fact, with Albert Pujols going through a bit of a post All-Star game slump, David is behind only Hanley Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval in the National League batting race. Of course, Pujols has fallen off a little bit, but the guy behind him in the lineup, Matt Holliday, he's kind of picked up the slack. Coming into today, Holliday as a Cardinal, hitting .586, 17 for 29.
Just get him in a pennant race, he's fine, I guess.
Pretty good pickup, huh? Blowing away with a slider, 2-2 to right. Cardinals are playing the Astros again tonight, and they're tied 1-1 in the 4th. And Holliday, home run.
The beat goes on.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Scherzer has his 3rd strikeout, and the Mets are down 1-2-3 for the first time tonight. Good pitchers duel developing here between Perez and Scherzer. 1-0 D-backs as we go to the 4th. During every Mets game here on Picks, we're giving you a chance to score free tickets to an upcoming game brought to you by the new McCafe coffees made with fresh ground espresso now at McDonald's. Tune into the Picks Game of the Week all season long for your chance to win free Mets tickets. Chris Young leads off the fourth inning for Arizona. Young flied to right his first time up, now 0 for his last 14. And he has slipped onto the interstate as he drills one foul, 1-1.
Underneath the Mendoza line.
What happened to this kid?
I don't know. We're talking about a young man that he never did hit for average. All right, so he's about 230, 240s. But this was a guy you thought was going to be a 30 home run guy. Bat leadoff, drive in 70, 75 runs, lots of speed, good outfielder. The league has made an adjustment, and he's having a hard time finding his way.
As a rookie in 2007, he had 32 home runs and 27 stolen bases. Then last year, 22 home runs and 14 stolen bases. This year, 6 home runs and 11 stolen bases.
Well, he's become more of a one-dimensional player, and that is that he's gone through a streak now that can happen to young players who have power, where they're trying to make up for a dearth of home runs with 10 in a week, and that just does not happen.
And I wonder when Eric Burns comes off the disabled list, which might be in a couple of weeks from a fractured wrist, as well as Gerardo Parra has played, could Parra be the center fielder with Young on the bench?
I think that, he's having a bad year. He's a good player. He's just having a bad year, and I think that, you have to play him because he's your future. I mean, if he has, he might have one of these horrible years, 10 home runs and 40 RBIs or whatever, and have to go home and really work and get his head straight. It's Kirk Gibson, the bench coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, tough as nails, Kirk Gibson. But, he's got to be a part of your future. If he's not part of your future, what do you have?
Again, the 3-2, and he walked him. Well, he thought he was going to get the call on that 3-2 slider. Jim Reynolds said no, and that's Ollie's third walk of the night.
Interesting choice against a hitter batting below 200, a 3-2 break ball to lead off an inning. I think that, again, in this ballpark, you got to take a little more aggressive stance. And this is going to sound like a critique now, but strikeouts are nice, but something on the outer part, let Young hit the ball to center field, and if he takes you deep, he takes you deep. But it's a hard thing to do in this ballpark.
So the leadoff man on for the third straight inning, and now Chad Tracy, and the sidearm delivery outside for ball 1. You wonder, when Ollie strikes out a bunch of guys, 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings, does that make him a little strikeout happy?
Just like the hitters who hit home runs, they can really derail themselves because they'll start to go for the home runs. Strikeouts are great. What's better is an accumulation of outs.
Tracy tries to hold up, and he went around 1-1.
I told you, my pitching coach Al Jackson had a great metaphor. He said, just put a basket behind the pitching rubber and fill that basket with outs. And that's how you get to pitch deep into a game. Don't think if they came on the ground or in the air or strikeouts, they all count the same.
Another sidearm, and the fastball misses away, 2-1. So Ollie messing with his arm angles here against the left-hander.
Interesting. Reynolds, who had a nice large strike zone early in the game, has reduced it a bit, and maybe it's because of the inability for Oliver to hit his spots consistently.
And that one goes to the backstop, and will move Young to second base. So a wild pitch from Oliver Perez, his first wild pitch of the season.
Schneider did a pretty good job trying to get over there, just got underneath him. For a catcher, and you never want to assume, but you assume at some point that a major league pitcher on a 2-1 count is going to get that pitch a little closer.
Now behind on Tracy, 3-1. Pulled down to first. That'll advance the runner. Murphy takes a glance over at third. He wasn't going to throw there, though, as Young advances. So a productive out by Tracy. Runner at third with 1 out.
Murph's like a gunslinger over there at first base, isn't he?
It's amazing. Jerry was talking about today and kind of chuckling about Murphy, how aggressive he is as a first baseman. He said, even if he throws one away, he'll go out there, he'll throw the next one away and keep trying until he gets it right.
And he said that's unusual because most first basemen, you don't have a lot of throws, so if you make one bad one, you're reticent to do it again. Not Murph. Infield in for the Mets.
You got the number 8 hitter, Augie Ojeda, up, who is a tremendous bunter. So you have to keep the squeeze play in mind here. Dan Warthen's heading out to the mound, and Ojeda will go and talk to his third base coach, Chip Hale, to see if maybe the squeeze will be on here.
Well, it's a good thing that Danny goes out to talk to Oliver Perez. The only thing that's a negative here, managers love to put the squeeze on after there's been some commotion, after there's been something happening. And with Dan going out there now, all the players have come in. They've talked about defensively what they want to do. With Arizona and A.J. Hinch, the manager, take a chance on first pitch bunt.
Got a fast man at third and Young. You got a good bunter at the plate in Ojeda. Infield in for the Mets. And Ojeda takes a strike on the inside edge.
Ooh, interesting, right? There's always an answer by the hitter. And the answer could be anything from wiping the chest to gripping the bat to touching the bill of the cap.
There's a strike. Well, that takes most of the possibility of a squeeze away. It's 0-2.
And that is the best way to take away the squeeze. Get ahead. Chip Hale.
The clap is generally not the sign for the squeeze.
No, that's encouragement. Like, let's go. It's 0-2.
Time to swing the bat. Well, Alda could use a strikeout here. You got the pitcher Scherzer standing on deck. And he misses wide as Schneider has to go to the backhand.
It was interesting. Schneider, you see him kind of tested that left leg, kind of put it out to kind of stretch it, because he really had to move for that pitch.
We have not yet seen it come into play. The distance from home plate to the back wall, it's so close on a wild pitch with a runner at third. Hit hard through the hole, and a base hit for Ojeda brings home Young to make it 2-0 Arizona. So with the infield in, Ojeda hit it by him, only his 5th run batted into the season in 165 at bats.
Well, after he got the first 2 pitches for strikes in, Ojeda shortened up that stroke. Same pitch inside. You see how he pulled those hands in just to make contact and out of the reach of Alex.
So after all the walks in this series that have not scored, now one does. Now Scherzer up there. Mets look for the bunt, and he fouls it off. Scherzer struck out his first time up, has 3 sacrifices this year to go with his 7 hits. Scherzer gives himself up and bunts it fair. Schneider's going to second, and he gets the out there. Throw to first, not in time. Schneider aggressively going after the lead runner and gets Ojeda on a close play at second. And the Mets almost turned it into a double play. 2 out.
Boy, I love that play, and you get it because of the great quickness there by Brian Schneider. He put on all that equipment. And this bunt right in front of the plate, he just comes firing out, throws this ball on the run. You can see that Ojeda's halfway there. Of course, Oliver has to get out of the way, or he was going to get decapitated.
Oliver on his hands and knees,
begging for 2. You know, there was a nice play by Cora there, lost in that. See how he caught the ball first, then proceeded to first. Get that first out. Make sure of it.
Ryan Roberts lifts one to right. Can of corn for Jeff Francoeur. And that'll do it for the inning. But the leadoff walk comes around on the run scoring hit by Augie Ojeda. 2-0 Arizona with Murphy to lead off for the Mets. First inning, RBI hit by Augie Ojeda in the fourth. And the Mets will come to bat in the bottom of the fourth inning, trailing 2-0. They've managed just one hit so far against Max Scherzer. That was Alex Cora's second inning double. Full house at Citi Field. Facing the second-year right-hander Max Scherzer. Looking for his 7th win. It'll be Murphy, Frank Cora, and Sullivan for the Mets in the home fourth. Murphy flying to center his first trip. And Daniel takes a fastball for a strike.
He just keeps pouring that fastball in, doesn't he? First pitch.
And he has thrown that fastball anywhere from 92 to 97 tonight.
It's almost like he's got, I hate to use the phrase, like get me over fastball. Like the first one's going to be, about 3/4, make sure I center it over the plate. And then when I get ahead, add a little bit.
Well, there's your Verizon high-speed pitch brought to you by Verizon Fios. Call 1-888-GET-FIOS. 97 the top number for Scherzer, 92 for Ollie. Murphy into center field, shallow, falling in for a base hit. So the Mets have their second hit of the night. Murphy leading off in the fourth.
Well, last night he had a couple of hard ground balls. Really hit the ball hard last night. Only had that home run to show for it. Here it gets jammed. He does a nice job of staying level, should I say, and moving that ball into center field.
So the Mets get Frank Cora to the plate as the tying run. Jeff flied to right his first time up. He's 0 for his last 11 now after a steaming start as a Met. And he takes a strike. Often see Jeff take a first pitch fastball in the strike zone. Well, he's gone to a little different batting glove since he hurt his hand.
He said he experimented one with wrapping it. He said he couldn't do that. Then he had the one that has the big padding on it. We've seen some of the players have that.
Bagwell made that famous.
Jorge Cantu plays with it. But he said he didn't feel comfortable with that either.
It looks cool with the black batting gloves, I must say. Hit toward the hole and a base hit. So after going 0 for 11, Frank Cora breaks that, and the Mets have the tying runs on base and nobody out.
Nice job of hitting a little slider right in the middle of the plate. And you need some breaks now when you're trying to work on some base hits. He hits that ball awfully hard, but it's not much different than the ball Schneider hit. Chris Schneider for a double play, but it finds a hole. A good start here for the Mets.
So now Corey Sullivan, who walked his first time up. Hard to think about playing hit and run with a guy like Scherzer on the mound, who's such a swing and miss pitcher. Wouldn't think that he'd be bunting in this spot, but the Diamondbacks playing those corners in just in case. And Corey takes up and away for ball one. Hard to bunt with your number 6 hitter when you just don't have a whole lot of punch at the bottom of your order.
It'd be different if you had a strong bottom of the order and you had a chance maybe that the game was different, that you pinch hit for Oliver. Certainly not going to here.
And yet they continue to hedge in at the corners. Sullivan takes up and away. Now Scherzer digging a hole for himself behind 2-0.
Well, we've seen that he has the ability to throw a strike. Just missed there twice. But I think if you're Sullivan, you've got to be very aggressive. Got to think of starting that bat early and trying to jump on this fastball you're going to get from Scherzer.
Corey's been swinging the bat well the last few days. 3 hits in his last 6 at bats. And he takes a rip there and fouls it off. 2-1. Jerry's been going with the hot hand against the right-handers. He's kept Sullivan in the lineup. And he said he'd take a look tonight and see how this lineup works before deciding whether to put Sheffield in tomorrow when he's eligible to come off the disabled list, or simply use Gary as a pinch hitter and stay with this lineup. This is the same lineup that won 5 games in a row. Line drive center field, and Sullivan comes through with a base hit. Murphy being waved around. Airmail throw by Young to the plate, not in time, and the runners go to second and third. It's an RBI single for Sullivan. A horrible play by Chris Young in center field, allowing the Mets to move the tying and lead runs into scoring position.
How do you get 14 games under 500? You pitch against behind the hitter. And on this sharp center single to center field, Chris Young does not hit the cutoff man. Air mails it. And even more importantly, no one covered second base. So even if that had hit the cutoff man, the runner, Corey Sullivan, could have proceeded to second base. Nice aggressive play by Razor Shines. He knows that Young does not have a great arm. The great read by Francoeur proceeding on the third when he saw the height of that throw. And Sullivan, of course, makes the turn. He knows he's going to go to second. You know why? There's nobody at second base anyways to throw to. Nice play by the Mets.
Well, the Diamondbacks are a defensively challenged team. Second most errors in the National League. No error there. Simply a poorly played ball. So Murphy comes home with the first men run, and now a base hit could give the Mets the lead. Diamondbacks will have to play the infield back with nobody out, so they'll concede the tying run as Alex Cora steps in. Ripped a double to right field his first time up, and Alex takes the slider down for ball one. So after Scherzer looked very dominant over the first 3 innings, he's looked a lot less dominant here in the fourth. That's now with 4 hits off Scherzer, 3 in a row to start this inning. And Cora swings and misses at a slider, 1-1. Cora at third and Sullivan at second, nobody out.
We saw through that 5-game winning streak by the Mets. What did they do? All that great team offensive baseball. If the team gave you a run, they took it. Let's see if Cora can do that against the Diamondbacks and Scherzer.
1-2 now to Alex. A steady diet of breaking balls in this at bat from Scherzer. Well, the other thing the Mets did during that 5-game winning streak, they bunched hits. We saw that most recently in the day game in the day-night doubleheader against Colorado when they had 5 straight hits and put together a 5-run inning.
And 6 in that inning.
Now Scherzer ahead on Cora 1-2 with Schneider on deck. Fouled away as he came with a fastball for the first time in the at-bat. That's with their 500 beards. Vowing not to shave till they get back to the break-even point. Trying to take a step in that direction tonight.
For Schneider, the catcher, you see those digits, the nails, painted white so it's easier for the pitcher to see the signs.
2-2 now to Cora. Well, he went with the formula that you were talking about earlier. Breaking ball, tried to have the put away fastball, but Cora fouled it off, and so he's got to change the game plan a little bit.
Cora is great in the way that he shortens up when he's got 2 strikes. He's really just trying to put this ball in play.
See Schneider hiding the signs with the glove. 2-2 to Alex. Chopper over the mound, that'll get the tying run in. Roberts with the off-balance throw, got him at first. But not only does Cora bring in the tying run, he moves Sullivan to third with 1 out. And the Mets have gotten even at 2.
As Francoeur at third, the ball's on the ground. Is it over? The pitcher said yes. So now you can proceed to score that tying run. Nice play by Roberts, but even better hitting by Cora. Got the guy in with the tying run, got the guy over where you have a chance to score him without the benefit of a base hit.
So now Brian Schneider, who had a runner at third with less than 2 out in the second inning but struck out, has another crack here in the fourth. With the go-ahead run, Sullivan at third and 1 out. He checks his swing and takes a letter high strike. I think he thought that pitch was high. 3 straight hits and a run-scoring groundout have produced 2 runs to tie the game. And Schneider gets tied up in a knot, and he went around 0-2.
Well, Scherzer just aired this one out. It's supposed to be outside, but see how he has a cut on it? That ball went from the outside corner all the way back inside and fooled Brian.
Now Brian needs to make contact here. Down to the count 0-2. Doesn't want to leave it to Ali again.
I'd like to see the third base runner take a big break. See what the rookie will do under pressure.
Fouled away.
Now this is a new guy. He's a new guy around the block. You don't know how he's going to react. Sullivan's a guy he probably doesn't know a lot about. As soon as he comes up to the stretch, take a big run at it. A Jose Reyes run down third. See if he has the wherewithal to step off.
Scherzer has committed 1 balk this season. Knocked down by Snyder, and it's 1-2.
Well, Snyder has to be great. You know why? Because he always caught Brandon Webb. And when you catch Brandon Webb, you get about 25 of these a game, whether they're sinkers or curveballs, and a nice job by corralling that ball in front of him by Chris Snyder.
That's such a big body to knock those pitches down with. Now it's 1-2 to Schneider. Just got a piece to foul that one off and stay alive.
I don't know if you noticed that, Gary. That's that ball you were talking about. Even though that was fouled off, it was fouled off straight back, came all the way back out to the pitcher. Watch this, guys. So if we ever have a pass ball, now this is not, it's fouled back, but watch where this ball goes. Back off the losmets.com sign, all the way back in front of the plate.
Only 45 feet from home plate to the backstop. Snyder fouls off the high fastball. So Brian getting some rips here and staying alive, giving himself a chance to try and get that lead run home.
Nice, tough at bat by Brian.
Perez on deck. Again, the 1-2, and he taps it down to first base. It's a foul ball. Late call by the first base umpire, Phil Colbreth, and the reason it was late, it's not his call. It's the home plate umpire's call because the ball was in front of the bag, but Jim Reynolds made no call.
Well, it was very interesting. It's almost like Reynolds did not get an angle on it, and I think he blocked out by both the catcher Chris Snyder and the runner Brian Schneider, so he deferred to the first base umpire who made the correct call.
Until that ball reaches the base, the ball technically belongs to the home plate umpire on the fair foul call. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Schneider. And he drives one to center field. Back goes Young, going back, over his head, and one hop over the wall, off the wall. Into score comes Sullivan, and into second base is Schneider with a run-scoring double to give the Mets a 3-2 lead. What a turn at bat for Brian Schneider. Coming back from a cortisone shot in his knee that cost him 3 games. Long at bat, and he drives one.
Well, I don't know about this lineup that had that 5-game winning streak, but against right-handed pitching, they have been awfully tough and tenacious, especially with runners in scoring position. And that's about as good an at bat as you're going to have from a hitter. Schneider against Scherzer. Great double and run scored for the Mets lead.
4th hit in the inning. Still only 1 out. And now Oliver Perez, who grounded out to third base his first trip. And he waves at the fastball, 0-1. Boy, that was as tenacious an at bat as we've seen all year long against a pitcher with some awfully good stuff.
And these outfielders, although they're shallow now, they play very shallow even for the 1 through 8 hitters of the Mets.
1-1 to Ollie.
Well, Gary, you brought it up. They're bunching their hits together. You know, Murphy's starting it off, but now here at the bottom of this order, able to get a hit from Sullivan. A beautiful at bat by Cora. And the 8th place hitter Schneider with a huge hit.
It's the 28th pitch of the inning from Scherzer, and he threw it by Ollie, and it's 1-2. Lane Boyer, the former Atlanta Brave, gets up in the Arizona bullpen. Scherzer trying to settle himself and put the brakes on what has become a big Met inning. 3 runs home and still only 1 out. And the changeup ripped into right field, a base hit for Perez. To third goes Schneider, and the Mets have their 5th hit of the inning. Oliver Perez with his 5th hit of the year. Why would you throw a 1-2 changeup?
Well, what I've noticed about Scherzer is that he's got an awfully good fastball. He doesn't always place it where he wants to, but his secondary stuff just tonight is not on top of his game. Brian Schneider, you're saying, why didn't he score on that base hit? One, Upton is very shallow. Oliver cheering as he goes. And Schneider had to freeze on that line drive.
The man enjoys his game, doesn't he?
Good for him.
5 hits in the inning, 3 runs are home, still only 1 out. Runners at the corners now for Pagan, who's 0 for 2 tonight and hitless in his last 10 at bats. Looking to at least pick up Schneider from third base. And it goes to the backstop, and Schneider will not be able to break, and that's what we were talking about. That small distance between the home plate and the backstop. Perez goes to second, but Schneider forced to freeze.
Unless it's to one side or the other, you're going to have to stay put on anything past the catcher, especially if he gets past him clean. Did not even get any leather on it. Brian with the should I stay or should I go now? Back to third base.
Definitely the right move on Brian's part, especially with 1 out. It's a wild pitch moving Perez to second. You see how short that is.
Well, you can see. I mean, that's nothing. What'd you say, 40, 45 feet?
45 feet. It's the shortest in the majors. It's a great seat if you're sitting there. Closer than anybody. Infield back, and Pagan swings and misses 1-1. So the middle infielder set up back, conceding another run on a ground ball to avoid an even larger inning. Now that is something. I don't think you or I could handle that look.
Well, that's, I think, Mr. Sign Guy. But that's tired too. It's all right. I mean, I know he's a Met fan. We love you. Love the signs. Tired look.
He looks well protected, though. 1-1 to Pagan. Fouls it away. Angel with 5 triples in the month of July. There's a saw.
There we go.
Got his crane pull jersey working.
You forgot the reference. 500 beard also.
There you go. Pagan cracks one to right center field. Upton moves over to grab it. Tagging at third, Schneider. The throw will go to third base. It's a sacrifice fly for Angel Pagan. The Mets have 4 runs home in the 4th and lead it 4-2.
Well, I don't know how you drop this inning any better for this Mets lineup. Behind in the count, they've done what they've had to do. Schneider, of course, line drive. He knows he's going to go back to third. No chance for Upton to throw that home, even with that strong arm. And boy, the Mets, a picture-perfect 4-run inning and still threatening.
They've run the bases well. Both their outs have been productive. Now Castillo, the 8th man up in the inning, with Perez at second and 2 out. And Louis takes a strike. Castillo's grounded out in both of his at-bats tonight. 0 for his last 9. What a hard-working inning for Scherzer. This will be his 35th pitch of the inning coming up. And he misses 1-1. What's the hardest part about throwing this many pitches in an inning?
Well, you know, you've been out there a long time. It's a very humid night. You can tell that he is sweating bullets. He's got a little puffiness in his face. I mean, he is, you know, starting to get tired.
I mean, is a mental strain at a certain point just to convince yourself that you can get through this inning?
Well, the problem is you spent 20 minutes on that mound and haven't gotten a lot of positive affirmation with your pitches. Even the outs have moved people over. You've made some decent pitches that they've hit for base hits. You've made some bad choices. The change up to Perez.
Inside to Castillo, 2-2.
And occasionally you get out there, Gary, and you say to yourself, am I ever going to get this third out? Hinch on the top step of that dugout, poised, I think, if he doesn't get this out, that this will be his last hitter.
He's had a reliever ready for some time. 2-2 to Castillo. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Castillo, the toughest man in the league to fan. But a huge inning for the Mets as they send 8 men to bat. They put together 5 base hits. Daniel Murphy got it started. Brian Schneider had the biggest hit of the inning with a long double. It all results in 4 runs and a 4-2 Met lead going to the 5th. New McCafe coffees made with fresh ground espresso. Call 1-866-414-2911. If you're the 11th caller, you'll be loving it at Citi Field. Oliver Perez with the lead for the first time tonight. Throws strikes 1 to Gerardo Parra, who had an infield hit his last time up. We'll go back to the 3rd inning when the Diamondbacks had the bases loaded and nobody out. Parra had an infield hit in the middle of that inning, and Ollie was able to get out of it without a run scoring, keep it a 1-0 game. Diamondbacks added a run in the 4th, but then the Mets put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the inning. Off the end of the bat, 1-2.
Well, the key was in the 3rd inning, got the strikeout of Reynolds with the bases loaded, nobody out, and with a little slider gets himself a 6-4-3 double play. Arguably the most important inning, of course, to this spot to put the Mets ahead 2 runs. But I'll argue that this inning is even more important. And why do I say that? During the course of a season, and Oliver has not been here, certain pitchers, you build up a winning or gamer kind of equity with your team and teammates. And this is one of those moments. Your team has just bled for you and got 4 runs, and it's just so important to come back and throw up a 0 and get them back in the batter's box.
And if he wants to do that, it would certainly help him greatly if he can get Parra, who has hit just 180 against lefties this year, because you got the 2 big right-handed bats, Upton and Reynolds, to follow. 3-2. Little flare, and that'll go into center for a base hit. So Parra is aboard for the 2nd straight time, and that's 4 straight innings now that the Diamondbacks have gotten the leadoff man on against Perez. So now here's Upton, who has looked as though he has been very comfortable against Oliver Perez tonight. Drove a home run into the 2nd deck back in the 1st, and then drilled a base hit to left in the 3rd. And Upton fouls this one away, 0-1. Upton now with 20 home runs, 64 RBIs. His 2 hits tonight have pushed his batting average back over 300 for the year. An all-star for the Diamondbacks this year, and he's 21.
Hasn't even tapped into his potential. I mean, that's the scary thing.
Talk about a talented family.
Wow.
We saw B.J. Upton come in here earlier this season for Tampa Bay and show off his skills. Justin fouls it off.
Just think about it. They have not only the Upton but they have a Drew too. I mean, both extremely talented families. Yeah, you watch B.J. Upton play sometimes, and when you watch him on TV, it might come off a little, I don't know, lackadaisical is a strong word.
Well, he sometimes doesn't hustle the way he'd like.
But when you watch him play, he does some things on the field that you don't see other people do, especially in the speed department.
0-2 to Upton, and he bounces one. Nice block by Schneider, keeping Parra at first, 1-2. Well, Justin Upton was the #1 pick in the draft by the Diamondbacks back in 05. As you look at that block by Schneider, took an awkward hop off the plate.
Two different techniques. Schneider, for the Diamondbacks, tries to block it with his whole body, including the glove. Brian Schneider is a little different. He likes to just throw out almost his chest and his chest protector at the ball. Takes his glove out of play to try to keep that ball in the front. Brian Schneider maybe had an early coach that taught him how to block pitches without a glove on. You'll see that happen a lot. I've seen catchers in spring training in my day, they get 2 boxing gloves and block pitches just with their chest.
Best catcher I ever saw at blocking pitches in the dirt, contemporary Charles Johnson, early in his career. There was nobody better.
He used to die for, I mean, just so athletic.
He had some great years for the Marlins. Popped up into center field, and Pagan is there. Tagging at first base is Parra as Pagan makes the catch, and not deep enough for Parra to think about going, and a throw back to first just in case Parra lingered. So Upton retired for the first time tonight.
Well, not a bad play there by Cora trying to catch a young Parra. We saw that earlier, I think 2 or 3 days ago. Jeremy Hermida base hit the left field. He rounded first base, took a big turn, and then walked back to first. They threw the ball in from left field to the shortstop. He pegged it to first, tagged Hermida out. So sometimes you get someone napping.
That's embarrassing.
That's very embarrassing.
Here's Mark Reynolds, who had an embarrassing moment of his own last night when he dropped a pop-up in the 9th inning. He's been up twice tonight and struck out both times, 1 out and 1 on. Parra 3 steals, but he's also been caught 4 times since coming up in May. Well, only Albert Pujols has hit more home runs in the National League this season than Mark Reynolds. You see Adrian Gonzalez third with his 28. Gonzalez not traded at the deadline, although there was certainly plenty of pursuit of the San Diego first baseman, who we'll see next week.
Well, I'm going to make like a bad lawyer here. I'm going to ask you a question I'm not sure you know the answer to. How is his brother doing, who was hit in the head?
I have not heard. I heard he's okay, but I don't think he's going to be playing anytime soon. They put him on the disabled list. That was very scary, Adrian Gonzalez. And the curveball stays high, and now it's 3-0 to Reynolds.
He's got to stay away from the curveball or slider for a strike to Reynolds, because that is the pitch. Just like David Wright likes that pitch down, Reynolds does too. But 3-0 here, should be going after him.
Tying run at the plate, and Reynolds takes it a strike, 3-1. No guarantee he was going to be taking 3-0. Not with his home run power. It's a different looking batting glove. Looks like he might have a no skid yellow piece inside the palm. Chases the pitch away, 3-2.
To me, Gary, it almost looks like a cushion. So maybe he hurt his palm while hitting. See it like an added cushion inside, but maybe not. That might be part of the glove. Let's see it. Take a peek. What will happen is hitters get jammed. Yeah, that's a little extra piece that the trainers put in there to try to stop that from hurting his palm.
Runner not going, which you certainly wouldn't expect him to with Reynolds at the plate.
You know, you asked a very important question before the game started. Do these strikeouts hurt Reynolds in his ability to drive in runs? And they did in that big inning, of course. Bases loaded, no outs, and his 141st strikeout, I believe.
He's got 142 now.
42.
Struck out 204 last year to set a major league record. He's on a faster pace this year. This will be the 100th pitch of the night from Oliver Perez. 3-2 to Reynolds, and he walked him. So now the Diamondbacks have the tying runs on base. 4 walks now for Ollie in 4 1/3 innings. About par for his course. They'll send Dan Worthen back out to the mound, averaging about a visit per inning. Well, you can't average more than a visit per inning. Then you'd have to take the pitcher out. Bobby Parnell, first man up in the Mets bullpen.
Poor Dan Worthen, he's going to get a bill from the grounds crew for this path he's leading out to the pitcher's mound.
Be part of the fun with the Mets at Citi Field as the series with the Diamondbacks continues tomorrow afternoon at 1:10 p.m. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Meeting adjourned. Chris Snyder coming up. It was Snyder who hit into the big double play to end the 3rd inning, when the Diamondbacks had the bases loaded. Only the 2nd ground ball double play generated by Oliver Perez this year. Parra at 2nd, Reynolds the tying run at 1st, and 1 out. And Snyder takes below the knees, ball 1.
Well, we're in the 5th. These are the kind of games that happen in April and May. You probably weather the storm with your starter, but every single game is so important for the Mets, and if Oliver can't prove that he can get Snyder out here like he did in the prior inning, he might not make it through the 5th. Needs a ground ball right here.
And you wonder sometimes for a manager, how hard is that to wrestle with taking your starting pitcher out when he's got a lead in the 5th inning?
I don't think it's a hard decision now because of the position that the Mets are in. You just have to do what's right for the team in the moment.
Runners go, pitch low, no throw. It's a strike actually to Snyder, but a double steal by Parra and Reynolds, putting the tying runs into scoring position.
Well, the left side of the infield did not move. If you watch the big jump, and that's something that comes from the scouts, because the scouts will watch a play for the Mets. They'll realize that when a pull hitter is up, that David Wright will not cover 3rd base. He wants to keep his defensive position, and it cost the Mets right there.
4th stolen base of the year for Parra, 19th for Reynolds. Now a base hit could tie the game. 1-2 to Snyder. He struck him out. Big strikeout for Oliver Perez as he pins that runner at 3rd. That's 7 tonight for Perez, matching his season high.
Very nice by Oliver, going up in the strike zone. 1 out closer to getting out of this. 2 on, 2 out.
So now it's left to Chris Young. Young drew a leadoff walk in the 4th inning and scored a run. 0 for 1 on the night and 0 for his last 14. And this year with runners in scoring position, Chris Young is hitting .167. Ollie still with some heavy lifting to do. 2nd and 3rd and 2 out. And Young takes it high for ball 1.
93 miles an hour. Ollie turning it up a notch.
Well, this will be the finish line for Oliver here in the 5th inning. Up to 105 pitches on the night. And he almost threw another one away. Schneider getting down to block it. 2-0.
Well, wants the ball outside, and that ball down and in. Hit off the fatty part of the glove there, the thumb part for Brian.
Ollie's got a base to work with here, but you got the go-ahead run at the plate. You do have a left-hand hitter on deck in Tracy. 2-0 to Young. And he throws a changeup, and Young swings over it. 2-1.
Boy, nice choice. 3rd best pitch here, getting a big strike to Young. 2-0, base open. You certainly do not want to walk Young to face the left-handed Tracy.
Gotten a lot of mileage out of that split change tonight. 2-1, foul back. And now he's 1 strike away from extricating himself from this jam.
Johan must look at Ollie pitch sometimes and think, I'm so glad that I figured it out. So talented, so mercurial.
Yes.
Has given us the joy of watching him on his good days. Right here, just trying to find a way through this fifth inning. 2-2 to Young. Ball 3. Won 15 games 2 years ago. Looked like he had cleared a hurdle. This will be his 110th pitch, a season high. And he throws it off Schneider. Into score comes Parra. It's a walk to Young. And now it's a 4-3 Met lead with the tying run Reynolds moving to third.
Boy, I thought for a second that ball hit Young. Slider down and in. But no, just off the glove of Schneider.
Very similar to the second pitch of the at-bat that Schneider was able to knock down.
But, you know, the ball not even close. Young not even a chance to offer. Of course, the good base running there by Parra.
They ruled out a passed ball, allowing Parra to score. Tough call. The walk to Young, the fifth given up by Perez. Now first and third and 2 out, and he'll get one more batter with the left-hand hitter Tracy up. Tracy is 0 for 2, struck out and grounded out. And he takes ball 1.
Have to remember, though, his last at-bat was a productive at-bat, and it was a bullet to Murphy at first base, who now has to hold the runner Young on at first, and that same bullet would have been a base hit.
Young carrying a potential go-ahead run at first base, and he can steal him. 11 this year. Tracy pops one up, and Corey is right there waiting for it. That retires the side. Oliver Perez staggers his way through the fifth inning. He'll leave with the lead halfway through. 4-3 Mets. Fresh, 2 more games with the Diamondbacks. Day game tomorrow, night game on Monday, both on SNY, and then a night game Monday and day game night game Tuesday, day game Wednesday against the Cardinals before the Mets head out to San Diego and Arizona.
Do you mind, Gary? I haven't been on a team charter. I'm going to come out to the San Diego trip, okay?
You have not been on a team charter all year?
Yeah, not for a while. Just one.
You haven't been disinvited, have you?
Maybe.
Alex Romero comes in to play left field for the Diamondbacks. He'll bat 9th. Gerardo Parra moves to center field, and they'll go to the bullpen and bring in the former Atlanta Brave, Blaine Boyer. He'll hit in the number 6 spot.
Well, he has pitched much better for the Diamondbacks. His numbers were astronomical
when he was with the Braves. Bobby Cox used him early and often, but he's pitched much better for the D-backs. Good fastball, overhand curve.
And in between, he actually pitched for the Cardinals, who got him on waivers, or actually in a trade for Brian Barton back in April, and then the Diamondbacks got him off waivers in June. So it's been a well-traveled year for Blaine Boyer, another Atlanta native who was traded out of town, much like Jeff Francoeur. Let's have the heart of the batting order up. Wright, Murphy, and Francoeur trying to build on a big fourth inning as they bat here in the fifth, now leading 4-3. And David drives one to right field. That's in for a base hit. Cut off nicely by his former bat boy Upton. And he's got himself a leadoff hit.
Well, Gary, you know the bat boys always sometimes have to play right field. And Justin with a nice play, cutting that off. Keeping David to a single.
David was playing AAU ball back as a teenager. He and Ryan Zimmerman and B.J. Upton were all on the same team. Justin Upton wasn't old enough to play with them, but he was the bat boy.
Old enough to play now.
Pretty good. So a leadoff base runner right now has an 11-game hitting streak, and here's Murphy, who fights one off and fouls it away. Murphy got the 4-run inning started for the Mets. Behind in the count, he singled to center field to lead off the fourth.
Let's have to try to push the envelope here. Boyer pretty slow to the plate. Although this 0-1 count probably keeps David on first.
David with 22 steals this year, caught 9 times. That's with 4 runs and 7 hits tonight. They put together 5 hits in that fourth inning. Max Scherzer left after 86 pitches over 4 innings. He allowed 4 runs and 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 4, threw a wild pitch. A little surprising to see him come back.
Yeah, it was. You would think they'd want him to go a little further. Just had that one bad inning.
But you know, sometimes when they judge when to take young pitchers out, they not only go by pitch count, but they go by pitches under duress.
A strenuous inning. They do that in the minor leagues. If a guy has certain teams will not let a starting pitcher throw more than a certain amount of pitches in an inning. Sometimes that number's 35, sometimes 40. If they do, they take him out.
Sure, threw 38 in that last inning. 2-1 now to Murphy. Perfect hit and run count if Jerry wants to go that way. He hasn't played hit and run a lot with Murphy.
No.
But you'd figure he'd be a perfect guy to do it.
Now should get a fastball here from Boyer. David should be able to get a pretty good jump too, even though if it's a hit and run.
And he's going, and Murphy lines one, foul. Well, they tried to play hit and run, and it almost worked.
I like it, though. I don't know about you, Gary. I like when you have a lead, keep trying to push the envelope, be aggressive.
Trying to explain why 2-1 is a perfect hit and run count.
Well, the one is that the pitcher's got to throw a strike. He doesn't have to, but he's supposed to throw a strike. You're probably going to get a fastball. All those things work in your favor to get a pitch to hit. Now this is a good one to steal on for David. Why is it a 2-2? Because Boyer has a good overhand curveball, and he might be trying to go for that punch out. So can David go run twice in a row? Be a good time to do it.
And the curveball sits high, and it's 3-2. In Pittsburgh tonight, young Andrew McCutchen has hit 3 home runs.
Wow.
Pirates lead the Nats 11-4 in the 6th, so he should get another at bat. Presumably they're not going to trade him. 3-2, right run, swing and a miss, no throw by Snyder. So Murphy down swinging as Wright steals second, his 23rd steal of the year.
Nice job by David picking on this changeup from Boyer that strikes out Murphy. 3-2 change from Boyer, down and away. Good pitch. But kind of caught Snyder napping a little bit, didn't it? David looking in and then turning it on.
Snyder was not prepared at all to come out of his squat. So Wright in scoring position for Francoeur. Jeff singled through the hole into left and scored on the 4th, snapping an 0-for-11 stretch. now facing his former Atlanta teammate and Atlanta area native.
You know what we've seen in these RBI situations with Frank Cora and Wright? They have to keep Wright close because he can steal third. We've seen Frenchie shoot some balls to right field in this situation.
And a look back at second and thrown into center field. Boyer threw it. Roberts had stopped short. And Wright goes to third base on the air.
Well, you have to remember as a pitcher that when you wheel around and want to throw the ball to second, you do not have to throw it. There is no chance to get right there. He was close enough to the bag. Mr. Boyer should have held on to that baseball.
Error on the pitcher. Infield back with one out. And Frank Kerr shoots one foul. 1-1. That just looked like a brain cramp on Boyer's part, because Roberts had stopped. They're conceding a run on a ground ball. Everybody back. And the ground ball will get the run in. Ojeda makes the play to first. Give Frank Kerr an RBI as Wright scores. And the Mets now lead 5-3. More good execution by the Mets. Take advantage of the error by Boyer.
Well, listen, the other teams, they're playing poorly. Has nothing, no reflection on you. Take it, but you have to still deliver it, and Frank Kerr did.
So after the Diamondbacks tallied an unearned run in the top of the inning, the Mets get an unearned run right back. Now Corey Sullivan swings and misses, 0-1. Sullivan having another good night at the plate. He walked in the second, and then he singled to center to drive in the first Met run in the fourth. Sullivan keeps hitting. He's going to keep playing.
Yes.
Mets have played very well with Corey in the lineup. He's played some spectacular defense out in left field.
Well, to me, these next two games are so important. To win this one tonight, to win tomorrow afternoon, because you don't know who's going to pitch on Monday, and you got to go against Mr. Herron, who's been just about unhittable all season long.
In all probability, the Mets will bring Tim Redding in from the bullpen to start on Monday, but that's not guaranteed.
If he can go 75 to 85 pitches, he'll pitch. If the pitching organization, the organization, people that talk about the pitching thinks he cannot go that deep, then that probably won't.
Ryan Roberts throws on Corey Sullivan. That ends the inning, but the Mets steal a run with some help from Blaine Boyer. David Wright with a base hit. He steals second, takes third on an error, comes home on a Frank Kerr ground out. An unearned run gives the Mets a 5-3 lead after 5. Acura advance. Beautiful look at the ballpark. Just about full tonight on a gorgeous night for baseball. Temperature in the upper 70s. Relatively low humidity for the 1st of August. That's with 2 months to play. And putting on a nice show tonight for the big crowd here at Citi Field. As you take a look at the big Pepsi Cola sign out in right field. Bobby Parnell comes out of the bullpen to relieve Oliver Perez, who, despite a lot of bumps in the road, has a chance to be a winning pitcher tonight. Augie Ojeda leads off for the Diamondbacks. He's been aboard twice with a walk and a single. He's driven in a run, and he takes ball 1 from Parnell.
Well, trying to get an inning out of Parnell here. The pitcher spot comes up 3rd in the next inning. You see the numbers. 52nd game for Bobby Parnell. That ERA is starting to come down. Those strikeouts will come up as his secondary pitches get better. Cannot afford any walks, though.
Pitched a 1-2-3 inning on Thursday night in his last outing against the Rockies. Way up high, and now he's behind 3-0 on Ojeda, with Alex Romero on deck hitting in the number 9 spot.
You know, the problem, as you see Romero on deck, the problem for relief pitchers is that they are on call every single night, so it's very difficult for them to take some time off and work on those secondary pitches, but they can do it a couple of ways.
Ball 4 and Ojeda's on a 4-pitch walk, not the way Parnell wanted to start his outing.
The way they did it with Parnell, as Dan Worthington goes straight to the phone, is they gave him a couple days off and he worked on the side just like a starting pitcher. Or, as most relievers do, they throw on flat ground out in the outfield before batting practice and try to work on their secondary pitches then.
Well, Tim Redding's going to get up and start to throw, which may put a crimp in any plan to use him as a starter on Monday. So now Parnell faces Alex Romero, who came off the bench in a double switch in the last inning. And he takes the first strike thrown tonight by Parnell. Romero appeared last night and drew a walk in his only at bat. He's got those two-tone socks working again.
I think they're the ankle braces. Lucky this isn't the NFL. It'd be a serious fine. They are tough on the uniforms there.
They would rip those black things right off his legs. You kidding me? Major League Baseball is a little more lenient as far as sock wear is concerned. You can wear your stirrups, you can wear your soccer socks, you can even wear your pants right to the tops of your shoes.
You can do whatever you want to do, but you've got to hit 300, not 200. I mean, that's the key.
That's a unique look, I have to say. Parnell ahead on Romero 0-2. Ojeda leads at first, and the fastball in tight, 96 miles an hour, 1-2.
That was a good pitch by Bobby, firing one inside. Now it opens up the whole plate for him. He can go back outside with a fastball. He can raise or elevate the fastball. But I think if he's going to throw a breaking pitch, he wants to take a chance on bouncing one. So he can get Romero to go fishing. Parnell having a hard time seeing the signs from Schneider.
Needs that polish on the fingernail, like Snyder has. Late swing foul. The line on Oliver Perez tonight, not a thing of beauty. 112 pitches, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts, a wild pitch, and a home run allowed. It could be a winning line for Ollie tonight.
Except for the 5 innings pitch and the 5 walks, he almost covered every number from 1 to 9, didn't he?
That's good liar's poker.
There you go. Third straight fastball inside.
Broken bat bloop, and right with time to get under it. 1 away. Barrel of the bat wound up on the infield grass out near Luis Castillo's position.
You say to yourself, why did he come in 3 straight times? Well, the second pitch missed up and away, so Brian Schneider knew that he can come back with that pitch inside and break the bat of Romero. Nice pitching.
So 1 out and 1 on. And now the Arizona second baseman Ryan Roberts, who's 1 for 3 on the night, singled back in the 3rd. Parnell starts him off with a slider for a strike. And we've seen more of that from Bobby lately.
I like that one too. That wasn't the. You saw him early in the season. That first pitch strike when he tried to throw a slider, he'd throw that nasty one you would use with 2 strikes to strike someone out. That one just rolled it up there a little to give him a strike.
Think hitters ever look for first pitch, get me over sliders?
The real good hitters, yes. But guys that are just starting out, no, because they're taught from a young age, look, first pitch fastball, anything spinning, you take it. But the real established hitters, the best I ever faced at hitting a first pitch breaking ball was Albert Bell. He was as good could be. He would not miss it if you hung it in the middle of the strike zone.
So Schneider's saying fastball and get it up.
Parnell might have a difference of opinion. Slide step, fastball, up in the strike zone.
Hit to right field. Frank Kurt toward the line, and he won't get there. It lands a base hit and hops into the stands for a ground rule double. So Roberts takes one the other way and winds up with a 2-base hit behind in the count 0-2. And just like that, the Diamondbacks have the tying runs in scoring position with 1 out.
Well, nothing to do about this. This is 2 hits for Ryan to the right side. Just drops it in there. Boy, Frank Court just missed tripping into that wall. Thank God he caught himself.
Well, the top of the batting order doing all the damage for the Diamondbacks tonight. Roberts, Parra, and Upton have 6 of the 7 Arizona hits. And now Parra, who's 2 for 3. Base hit here could tie up the game. Parra had an infield single in the 3rd and then singled to center and scored in the 5th. Infield back, they'll concede 1 run on a ground ball. Ball 1 to Parra. One and 1 to Parra. That'll get a run home. Cora gets the out at first as Ojeda comes in to score to cut the Met lead to 5-4. Roberts moves over to 3rd.
Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks giving the Mets some of their own medicine there. A nice quality at bat by Parra to drive in that run to get the Diamondbacks a little closer.
38th run batted in for Parra, the 22-year-old rookie, who been kind of impressive.
Yeah, he has.
Looks like he's got a clue. Came up with a reputation as a spray hitter with a good swing, and we've seen just that.
No spray hitter here, though, Gary.
The dangerous bat of Justin Upton has produced a long home run tonight, hit into the 2nd deck in left field. He also singled to left in the 3rd before flying out in the 5th, 2 for 3. Tying run at 3rd and 2 out. And Parnell gets ahead of him with a slider.
Well, a good first pitch slider there, and this is the home run off Oliver. Fastball in, did not get it there, and that's, I think, the longest home run we've seen to left field. Almost took that off the Acela club.
That one had a rotary engine. Hit hard through the whole base hit, and that'll tie up the game. In to score is Roberts. Upton with his 2nd RBI of the night. And the Diamondbacks are coming right back to tied at 5-5.
Well, all good RBI men, you know what they do when they have a guy on and 2 outs? They're not afraid to try to shoot that ball to right field. This is after he's hit a ball off the facing, hit a line drive to left field, and another RBI situation, has the ability to hit that fastball away. That's some kind of talent.
So we start even, 5-5 as we play the top of the sixth. Here's Reynolds, who struck out twice and walked tonight. And that pitch taken down. Another first pitch slider from Parnell, 1-0. It all started with the leadoff walk to Augie Ojeda, the number 8 hitter. Parnell walked him on 4 pitches and put himself immediately in trouble. Upton can steal a base. He's got 15 this year. And a check swing foul on another slider, 1-1.
I think if you're Upton here, you want to steal this bag, Gary, and you want to get in scoring position. But the threat of Reynolds and his power puts you in a position where you have to be safe. Have to get an incredible jump.
And Parnell throwing wide, Murphy grabbing it. Stays with the breaking ball to Reynolds, and it's 1-2. Reynolds has already struck out twice tonight, 142 times this year. And he goes down again swinging, and Parnell works through the inning. But 2-1s for the Diamondbacks. Justin Upton with a game-tying hit. 5-5 as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the sixth. Met hats for sale. Look at all those.
It's amazing. You know, I think I told you, Gary, that looks like a traditional hat you'd get on a hat day.
Now, the only difference between the blue hat the Mets wear now and the absolutely traditional one is the button.
Orange button.
It used to be in the old days, the Mets had the blue hat with the blue button. There's the black and blue cap that got introduced in the 90s, and the black hat as well. Things are so much more complicated than they used to be. 5-5 as we go to the bottom of the sixth, and Alex Cora takes ball one.
You know where I really noticed it as a kid? Used to go into Fenway Park, where most of the guys wore, it was mostly guys. There were no pink hats like there are now. Most of their names were Sully, and they were in different fits of disarray. But now there's pink hats, there's green hats.
Line the other way, and a base hit for Cora. Boy, he's had a good night at the plate. Romero was playing toward the line, so no chance for Cora to get 2 bases out of it. But the second hit of the night for Cora, who now has 7 hits in his last 4 games.
Beautiful hitting here. Nice short stroke. You're going to pitch him away. Alex is going to send it away. Reynolds had to be in for the threat of the bunt, so that ball's by him. And play by Romero off the boards.
Cora playing with that sore thumb, now 7 for his last 14. Now Brian Schneider, who hit a long double to center field to drive in a run in the 4th inning. That was the at-bat of the night for the Mets. He was behind in the count, fouled off 4 pitches after the count reached 1-2, and then hit it 400 feet to center field. And he fouls one away, 0-1. Jeremy Reed has come out on deck to pinch hit for Bobby Parnell. Reed is the only left-handed bat available on the bench tonight. Each team with 5 runs and 8 hits. Mets were down 2-0, led 4-2, 4-3, 5-3. Then the D-backs tied it here in the 6th. Then Schneider drops down a bunt. Snyder going to second. Close play, but Cora is out. So just as Schneider did earlier on a bunt right in front of the plate, Chris Snyder gets the lead runner on a bunt.
Well, you have to have this play successful, because if you don't, with Snyder making the nice toss to second base, now you got Brian Schneider on first base and you've lost some speed. Both catchers with nice plays in this ball game. Just beating Alex Cora.
Got him by an eyelash. Jim Wolf right on top of the play to make the call. So now Jeremy Reed up to pinch hit, and he's done a terrific job pinch hitting this year. And he takes ball 1.
You know, with the 3 catchers, you have the ability to, if you wanted to run for Brian Schneider here. It is a bit early, of course. And there is 1 out, but you can. Something they haven't been able to do for most of the season.
I think if it were this 8th inning, they would. Ripped toward the right field corner, but it hooks foul. Jeremy Reed has been used more often as a pinch hitter. Look at that, 8 for 22, hitting .364 as a pinch hitter.
And it was an interesting move by Jerry Manuel last night. Took him taking out Livan Hernandez with the bases loaded. Hit on Barola because the righty-lefty matchup. But, you know, Reed has proven, I think, that righty or lefty, preferably righty, of course, he has done such an excellent job.
Well, here's the thing about Jeremy against lefties. He's only had 7 at bats against them this year, but he's 4 for 7.
Yeah. Well,
so I mean, you can make the argument he hasn't seen them very much, and maybe that puts him at a disadvantage. But in the few chances he's gotten, he's shown that he can hit, and he's certainly a better hitter than Angel Barola. Here's the 1-2 off the corner, and it's 2-2.
And you can see both sides. Jerry's thinking that he's got a kind of a veteran in Barola. He's got a guy that was coming off a huge hit in the game the day before with a double to right field. But Angel Barola does not have a lot of pinch hitting appearances, and swung at a first pitch curveball in the dirt.
Reed grounds one toward the hole. Nice stop by Reynolds. Gets the out at second, and no relay by Roberts, who had to stretch to stay on that bag. So Reynolds making a nice play to take a base hit away from Reed and get the out at second base.
Well, he will be defensively challenged sometimes, but it's not because of his athletic ability. Reynolds chases this one down, makes an errant throw here. That was a nice play by Roberts. He wants to stay on the bag and also make that catch.
So now Reed is at first, a little better speed than Schneider with 2 out. Well, a lot better speed. And here's Pagan, who drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 4th. Blaine Boyer working his 2nd inning in relief, made a throwing error in the 5th inning that cost his team a run. Now they've gotten back even and trying to keep the Mets off the board in the 6th. 2-0 to Pagan. Angel 0 for 2 plus that sacrifice fly tonight. Hitless in his last 10 at bats. Cardinals have beaten the Astros again tonight, 3-1. 2 more home runs for Matt Holliday.
Carpenter with a big effort, Chris Carpenter.
So that'll keep the Cardinals in first place in the Central. They began the day a half game up on the Cubs. Cubs had a 6-0 lead on the Marlins. That's now 6-5 in the 7th.
His shot the other way and over the bag down the line. Reed racing for third. Over goes Romero to play it. Reed's going to be held up at third base as Romero gets it in. It's a double for Angel Pagan, and the Mets have second and third and 2 out.
Oh, nice hitting by Cora and nice hitting by Pagan. Both fastballs away from Boyer. Nice hitting of going the other way. Almost picture perfect, identical swings. Same play by Romero.
You know that Razor Shines wanted to send Reed in the worst way with 2 out, but you just can't the way Romero was able to get to that ball.
Yeah, he just couldn't. He was going to be a dead dog. Nice play by Razor. And you've got Castillo coming off a hot July. So you have some hits in him in August. Well, the key for a third base coach is you want to know where the runner is when the ball is picked up. Romero's got it, and when he throws this in, look at Reed's not even at third base. You want Reed to at least be at third base when he picks it up, and that'll give him a shot to be safe at home.
So now it's left to Luis Castillo, 0 for 3 tonight, hitless in his last 10 at bats.
Let's see if Luis, sensing that Boyer does not want to face right, will jump on a first pitch fastball. Be aggressive in this situation.
He's got 2 in scoring position. Tie game, 6th inning. Takes a strike. Louis has hit .313 with runners in scoring position this season. Had the highest on base percentage in the National League in the month of July as David Wright waits on deck. Louis had a .478 on base percentage in July, the best in the league. 0 for 3 on August 1st. And now Boyer's ahead of him, 0-2.
Louis mad at himself, as you can see. 4 hits in his last 6 at bats with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Mad at himself because he took that first pitch down the middle and swung at that pitch out of the strike zone.
Now he's got to protect with 2 strikes. He's already fanned once tonight. That's a rarity. Slaps one to short, and Ojeda's in front of it. And that retires the side. So the Mets get 2 hits, but leave 2. We're going to the 7th. Hats off. All tied up at 5. Your McCafe ticket contest winner tonight is Ed from Wantagh. Congratulations, Ed.
Where's Wantagh, Gary?
Long Island.
What part?
South Shore.
South Shore, okay. Like near Bayshore and Islip?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm just trying to learn my geography here out there in the island.
Little unusual spot to see Tim Redding tie game in the 7th inning.
Well, Redding, what they're trying to do is get a couple of innings out of Tim here in this tie game.
Chris Snyder, first man to face him, takes ball 1.
There was rumor that Tim would pitch on Monday, get a spot start, but now pitching in this game, that probably takes him out of the Monday start.
It's more like a Nelson Figueroa kind of a deal. 1-1 to Snyder, who has walked, rounded into a double play, and struck out tonight, 0 for 2. Pitcher spot due up next for the Diamondbacks. And they've got Josh Whitesell on deck to be a pinch hitter. Slider bounced to third, behind the bag. A lot of time with the catcher running. And Wright throws him out, 1 away. Good understanding by David that he didn't have to hurry that throw.
You know, watching David the past maybe 2 weeks now, maybe less than that, 10 days, he has had an ability to stand up tall. See how he's standing up tall and throwing that ball straight over the top? When you do that, the ball is going to be truer.
Well, I think it's been a real point of emphasis with David because you've seen that arm angle come up. Well, Redding faces just one batter, and now he's going to leave with the left-hand hitter Whitesell announced into the game and another left-hand hitter Tracy behind him. Mets will go to Pedro Feliciano to try and get a couple of lefties out. Call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. Pedro Feliciano on to face the pinch hitter Josh Whitesell, who takes a strike.
Well, that's why they pay us to be up here in the booth, Gary, and not managing, because we had Tim Redding pitching this entire 7th, and he's not. Pedro coming in, of course, to face these left-handers. Whitesell has a lot of power. He's a swing and miss guy, but he's got a lot of pop. Pedro's numbers as the games keep shooting up. Great ERA, and he has just been outstanding all season long, especially here at City.
1-2 to Whitesell, who started last night at first base, who went 0 for 2. Pedro faced 2 batters last night. Got a ground out from Stephen Drew to strand 2 runners in the 7th, but then gave up a hit to the left-hand hitting Gerardo Parra leading off the 8th, and that eventually led to the wild pitch by Sean Green that produced the winning run. Here we're 5-5 in the 7th. 1-2 to Whitesell. And he almost falls over, fouling off that slider.
Mr. Whitesell almost sprained an ankle on that swing.
You know what you like about this motion? It's very compact, 3/4, hits that arm slot. So Pedro does a nice job of hiding the baseball, which only adds to, you see a speed and you go, boy, he only throws 87, 88. But when you hide the baseball, that almost adds a couple miles an hour to your fastball.
And that fastball just misses 2-2. "58 games now for Feliciano. Mets are playing their 103rd game tonight. He struck him out. Gets Weitzel with the slider. 2 out of the inning.
Well, just awfully tough on lefties is Feliciano. Just a tough pitch. Good try by Weitzel to hold that back, but just could not.
That's 9 strikeouts for Met pitching tonight. Perez struck out 7, Parnell 1, and now Feliciano has his first. Now another left-hand hitter, Chad Tracy, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Tracy has struck out, grounded out, and popped to short. By the way, the Diamondbacks have no right-handed bats on their bench tonight. They put every available right-hand hitter in the lineup against Oliver Perez. Ollie went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 6 hits, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. Bobby Parnell gave up a couple of runs in the 6th to allow the Diamondbacks to tie it. Late swing foul, and it's 0-2.
I was talking about Feliciano, how he hides the baseball. If you take a look, see when he comes, he has that ball behind his back, and when he hits that arm slot, you just cannot pick it up until the very last second. Hitters are always taught to take a look over the shoulder, throwing shoulder of the pitcher, but Pedro never gets to that point.
Ahead on Tracy, 0-2. And a little tapper. Who's going to pick it up? Schneider does. And he gets him to end the inning. Turned into a tough play, but Bryant made it look easy. Mets on the heart of the batting order coming up in the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time at Citi Field. Game tied at 5. This night, perfect night to play a relatively long game, don't you think?
What are you expecting? 15 innings? 15,
well, no,
16?
I'm just saying the pace of this game has not been all that quick. It's been a lot of action and runs scored and stuff as Juan Gutierrez comes on to pitch for the Diamondbacks. So if you're going to sit for a 3.5 or so hour game, why not on a beautiful night?
That's right. Juan Gutierrez, 26 years old, from Barcelona, Venezuela. He has pitched 7 consecutive scoreless outings for the Diamondbacks as he's heating up as the season goes along. He saw his first pro action for the Houston Astros.
That's on the heart of the batting order up. David Wright up to lead off, and he takes low from Gutierrez, 1-0. David tonight has walked, struck out, and then singled to right, stole a base, and scored a run in the 5th. David now has an 11-game hitting streak going. 3rd in the National League in batting with that .327 average. And he is fooled badly. 1-1.
I was going to say he's a graduate, but Gutierrez was one of those young Venezuelan pitchers that went through that Astros Baseball Academy in Venezuela.
Same academy that produced Bobby Abreu, Richard Hidalgo, Johan Santana, Melvin Mora. Came over from the Astros in the same trade that brought them their closer Chad Qualls from Houston. There's a good slider for a strike, 1-2. Let's say Valverde went the other way in that trade. That's 5 runs and 9 hits. The D-backs 5 runs and 8 hits. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Toward the hole, Ojeda on the backhand and makes the long throw on target. 1 away.
Well, nice play on the backhand, the crossover step, and the strong throw from Ojeda, who is more of a second baseman but can play all the infield positions.
He has started at second, short, and third for the Diamondbacks this year. Now Daniel Murphy is 1 for 3, single to center back in the 4th to start a 4-run rally. And he pops the first pitch foul. Mets were down 2-0 in this game, got 4 in the 4th. Diamondbacks cut it to 4-3. Mets added a run in the 5th to make it 5-3, but then 2 runs in the 6th tied up the ball game for Arizona, and that's where we are. Gutierrez throwing a lot of breaking stuff. Brian Stokes, next man up in the Mets bullpen, getting ready to pitch in the 8th inning. Now the 0-2 to Murphy, way upstairs under the backstop.
There's Mel Stottlemyre Jr. Boy, he had a nice arm until he hurt it early in his career. Never really got a lot of time. He did some work in the Mets organization, didn't he, as a pitching coach?
Yep. Pitched in Kansas City during his career. Popped up in foul ground. Reynolds hoping for a chance down by the tarp, leaping, and he caught that ball.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Mark Reynolds with a highlight reel play, showing no respect for life or limb, leaping into the tarp and making that grab.
Well, he called his teammates out to be more gamers, and I tell you, he is one. Leaping into the stands there to catch that ball right over the tarp.
That's a concrete wall he landed on top of also. She used his glove to blunt the fall a little bit.
Look at the lady's reaction behind. Oh, my.
Who would expect that? Big hack by Frank Kerr, 0-1.
Just fantastic play by Reynolds. Selling out to make that play. This is the same guy that missed the pop-up last night. Hard to believe.
Well, he made a nice play in the last inning to start a fielder's choice, and Murph can hardly believe his ill fortune.
I feel your pain, Murph. Wow, what a play.
Well, you like that kind of blood and guts on your team,
yes,
don't you?
You do.
0-2 to Frank Kerr is 1 for 3 with an RBI tonight, and he lifts one foul. Bounce to short and a big hop for Ojeda. So a 1-2-3 inning for Juan Gutierrez against the heart of the Mets batting order, helped out by his third baseman, Mark Reynolds, making one of the more extraordinary plays we've seen here at Citi Field with a dive into the stands. Nicely executed. Still tied at 5. This 11 wins for Derek Lowe as he beat the Dodgers today. 3 home runs for Andrew McCutchen. Had a chance for a fourth, grounded into a double play. Rockies, who are tied for the wild card lead with the Giants, trying to hold off the Reds. Cubs led 6-0. It's now 6-5 in that game in Florida. And as the first pitch is popped up by Augie Ojeda on the right side, and Castillo puts it away, 1 out. First time Ojeda's been retired tonight. Complete game performance by Chris Carpenter for his 11th win as the Cardinals beat the Astros. Tim Lincecum against Joe Blanton in San Francisco, and the Brewers and Padres soon to start. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Alex Romero up for the second time. Romero fouled out to David Wright his first time up. Feliciano's faced 3 and retired 3 in relief. Got the right hand hitting Roberts next, and then the left hand hitting Parra. So we'll see whether Feliciano will get a chance to finish this inning. Romero grounds 1 to third. Nice play, like a high Leicester. David Wright throws out Romero, 2 out. Well, his buddy Mark Reynolds made a fantastic play, and Wright makes a very nice one.
Well, catch it on kind of the in between hop. And see how he brings that glove up to kind of cradle it. So it's a little softer when it hits the glove, but nice play by David. No chance for Cora once that got by him. Pedro likes it.
Said, I've been to the Fronton. I've seen that play.
There you go. The Cessna, right?
Here's Ryan Roberts, 2 for 4 on the night. Both his hits have gone to right field, a single and a ground rule double. Roberts takes a strike with a fastball. 0-2. Feliciano's had some longer outings of late. Jerry had him face 5 batters earlier in the week against Colorado. He faces 5 batters here, and he's retired them all on the line drive to Castillo. 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th, still tied at 5. Mark Reynolds making a great defensive play in the last inning, and well, sometimes the fans
he made.
react.
Watch this fan right here. Watch her reaction to this great catch. She is just gassed at that catch by Reynolds. Can't believe that he threw his body into the stands like that. Great to see that. Fans totally into it. There she is.
I think she was afraid he was going to hurt himself.
Yeah.
Clay Zavada, the left-hander, comes on to pitch for the Diamondbacks in the bottom of the inning.
Boy, quite a story. You know, he was featured in the New York Times a couple years ago. His father passed away. His mom had passed away when he was 3 years old. Dad passed away. Blue-collar guy. Had to go and take care of the farm. While he was taking care of it, he retired from baseball, went back to Southern Illinois, got his degree because his dad always wanted him to, and now has come back to the game and has pitched outstanding. Just a great story for Clay and his family.
Fernando Tatis batting for Corey Sullivan, and he takes a strike. So the Mets get the right-hand stick of Tatis up there against the left-hander Zavada. More like Viva Zapata with the mustache there.
I like it.
It'll be Tatis, then Corey and Schneider in the bottom of the eighth. And Fernando, who has 2 home runs on this homestand, takes inside 1-1. Get the grand slam on Monday against the Rockies, and then another home run on Thursday as K-Rod gets up in the bullpen, hoping that today is the day the Mets give him a save opportunity. Hasn't had one since the All-Star break. 1-2 to Tatis. Zavada leaves it away, and it's 2-2. Now the 2-2, and Fernando takes the big rip and strikes out, and that's the first out in the bottom of the eighth.
Well, nice pitch by Zavada there, but watch the head of Tatis coming up and out. We've seen when we watch the Mets hitters, when they get their base hits, their head is right on the baseball, but his coming up and out.
It's 0-1 out and nobody on. Now Alex Cora, who's had a terrific night at the plate, doubled to right, drove in a run with a ground out, and singled to left. And Zavada misses with the curveball for ball 1.
Zavada's full name is Clay Flipson Zavada. P-F-L-I-B-S-O-N. Have you ever seen that name before?
Must be a family name.
Yes.
Some ilk. And tight, and now it's almost got hit. 2-0. Well, Zavada, to make his way back into professional baseball, had to go through independent league ball. He was originally drafted by the Diamondbacks, and after going back to school and coming back through the independent ranks, the Diamondbacks knew him and purchased his contract middle of last season. 3-0 now to Cora, and he walked him. So Alex is aboard for the 3rd time tonight, and the Mets have the lead man on first with Brian Schneider due up, but we're going to get Omir Santos to bat for him. So Santos will bring his right-handed back to the plate against the lefty Zavada.
Well, a couple of things you have here with Omir Santos. One, like Gary said, you got the right-hander against the left-hander matchup. Secondly, we've seen Jerry really likes to use Santos in hit-and-run situations. You got some good speed at first base in Alex Cora.
So the Mets with an opportunity here in the bottom of the 8th to try and regain the lead. Santos caught last night. In fact, he caught 3 games the last 2 days. Both ends of the day-night doubleheader Thursday and then again last night. And he takes a long look here down at Razor Shines to see what might be on, with Corey at first and 1 out. 5-5 game, bottom of the 8th. Zavada, the 4th Diamondback pitcher of the night, delivers to Santos, and it's up and away for ball 1. A changeup to start him off.
Does Mr. Santos have one more dramatic moment, as he's had a few this season for the Metropolitans?
Reaches for it, loops it to shallow right. Up comes Upton. He'll have to play it on a hop. And Cora makes it to second safely despite the deke by Upton. So Santos taking one the other way, and now the Mets have the lead run at second base.
Well, right off the end of the bat, that fastball running away from Zavada. And Upton with the deke here on Cora, but you can't deke the veteran Alex, who just goes halfway, reads it, and then, of course, proceeds to second a little quicker there at the end.
So now with the pitcher's spot due up, another chance for Angel Baroa as a pinch hitter.
Boy, that ball's 6-7 inches outside as Santos covers a lot of that plate, or off the plate.
So now Cora at second, Santos at first, and here's Baroa to bat for Feliciano. Baroa last night getting into a fielder's choice in the 6th inning when he batted for Levon Hernandez. John Roush up in the bullpen for the Diamondbacks. So Baroa gets another crack at it. First and second and 1 out. And Angel takes a fastball for a strike.
A couple of different managing techniques we're watching tonight, aren't we? Jerry, a guy that is reticent to having a left-hander face a couple of right-handers in a row. Just a difference for A.J. Hinch, who's letting Zavada stay in the ballgame.
If they brought in a right-hander, the Mets don't have a left-handed answer on the bench. Baroa lines a base hit. Here comes Cora around third. Razor Shines waving him home, and then he stops. And the ball is cut off by Reynolds. No, Razor waved him, but Alex decided on his own to stop at third base. And now the Mets have the bases loaded and 1 out with Pagan coming up. And maybe Alex knew something about Alex Romero's arm in left field.
Well, good hitting there from Angel Baroa. Hits that ball in the hole. Nice, sweet stroke there. And Romero comes up with this very quickly. Alex was not even towards third base when Razor Shines was waving him in. Watch Cora gets the read, and he just has a feel. He's got the feel in the peak that he's going to stay. I thought Shines had sent him.
He did send him, no question about it. And Alex decided on his own to stop. And judging by that throw, probably a good idea.
Well, I've seen third base coaches do this before. I don't know if that's what they were doing there. But occasionally a third base coach with a veteran, when they know he's not going to go, will give him that exaggerated kind of look to get the left fielder to make that exaggerated throw. You might get a wild throw.
So now the go-ahead run at third with 1 out. The infield's going to play back at double play depth against Pagan, who has a sacrifice fly to double 1 for 3. And Angel takes up and away for ball 1. A 1-out walk to Cora, a bloop hit by Santos, and then Angel Baroa, who couldn't get it done last night, tonight coming through as a pinch hitter with a base hit to load the bases for Pagan. And Angel pops one foul, 1-1.
Well, we've seen Romero in left has a strong arm. Upton in right, a very strong arm. Parra's arm is good, not great.
Already getting ready to throw. 1-1 to Pagan. And Angel rockets one deep left field, headed toward the wall. It's out of here! Angel Pagan with a grand slam, his first home run of the year, and he's given the Mets a 9-5 lead. It's the second time on this homestand that the Mets have broken an eighth-inning tie with a grand slam.
The first one on this homestand, of course, by Fernando Tatis. And here, Angel Pagan with his 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th RBI. And his first home run as the Mets and this lineup against right-handers breaks it open.
And a curtain call from Pagan, his first home run of the season in his 122nd at-bat. First career grand slam, and what a moment to hit it. Castillo lines one to center, Parra in front of it, and that's the second out. It's his first home run as a New York Met. His last home run came in July of 2007 when he was playing for the Cubs. He's been so oft injured, the shoulder injury last year, the elbow injury this spring, the groin injury that knocked him out for a month and a half. But Pagan's been getting an opportunity to play. A 5 RBI night tonight for Pagan, and his grand slam has put smiles in the Mets dugout. David Wright 1 for 3 and a walk tonight, and he takes a strike. Grounded out to short where Ojeda is there to play it. That retires the side, but Angel Pagan with one swing of the bat has changed the nature of this game. Angel Baroa got the base hit in front of him, and then Pagan made no mistake. His first home run as a Met is a go-ahead grand slam in the 8th inning. And now we go to the 9th. 9-5 New York. Bank, what's in your wallet? Now the Mets have 9 runs in their wallet tonight, leading 9-5 as we go to the 9th. Brian Stokes on to try and finish it up. Gerardo Parra takes a strike. Omir Santos, who had a base hit in that rally, stays in the game behind the plate. Fernando Tatis stays in left field. And Stokes gets ahead on Parra, 0-2.
There are the numbers for Brian Stokes. So he's trying to close this out with a 4-run lead. Interesting, isn't it, Gary, that on that 5-game win streak and now here 9 more runs, that this lineup with Murphy batting 4th, and you know, I mean, there's not as much rhyme and reason to it, but it just seems to work.
Parra swings and misses, and Stokes has a strikeout to start the 9th inning. Well, Jerry said with Sheffield coming off the disabled list tomorrow, as you look at this last swing by Parra, that he was going to get a look tonight at how this lineup fared. Remember the last 2 games the Mets faced lefties, they had a slightly different lineup, but now they come back with this lineup that produced the 5-game winning streak, and look, they put up 9 runs tonight, and I would assume that means that Jerry, at least for the near term, is going to leave Sheffield on the bench as a feared pinch hitter until this lineup stops producing. Upton lines one to short, and Cora's got it 2 out.
Well, luckily this game is almost over, because Upton, if he had another at bat, might hurt someone on the field.
3 hits tonight, a home run, a couple of RBIs, but he's got nothing on Angel Pagan. A career high 5 RBIs for Pagan, including his first career grand slam, his first homer as a Met. And you have to say that Pagan has been more than the Mets could have asked for, filling in for Beltran in center and for Reyes in that leadoff spot. Don't forget the postgame show on SNY right after we're done here. Lincoln Mercury postgame live for continuing coverage as Reynolds lifts one to deep left center field. Going back, Pagan looking up, and that ball is out of here. That went into the second deck, deep in left center field. That's got to be a 450-foot shot at least off the bat of Reynolds, his 30th home run of the year, to cut the Met lead to 9-6. That is the longest home run, I believe, in the history of Citi Field. I mean, the one that Adam Dunn hit out on the bridge in right center might have been a shade longer, but to get it in the second deck as far over as he just hit it, wow.
If that didn't have a deck there, that was 2 hops away from being on the runway at LaGuardia. I mean, wow. I mean, that's what, 12 rows up? 10 rows up.
So now Chris Snyder takes ball 1. Well, Reynolds has had a very impressive series, homering each of the first 2 games. That great defensive play he made on the foul pop-up by Murphy. Foul back by Snyder, and it's 1-1. That is a long way from home plate. 1-1 to Snyder, and the slider misses. 2-1. If the Diamondbacks get one more base runner, that would create a save opportunity for Francisco Rodriguez. K-Rod was up earlier. Check swing, and he went around. Now the Diamondbacks are down to their final strike. Check swing, and he held this time, and it's 3-2 to Snyder. Snyder 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. (3-2), and he walked him. So the Diamondbacks are alive after Stokes retired the first 2 here in the ninth. He gave up that monstrous home run to Reynolds, and now a walk to Snyder. And now the Diamondbacks need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate. K-Rod is ready. This would be a save situation if Jerry brought him in here, and he's going to do exactly that. He's going to bring in K-Rod for his first save opportunity since the All-Star break to try and get the final out of this game. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. It's been 20 days since Frankie Rodriguez's last save. He needs 1 out to get a save tonight. Miguel Montero, the pinch hitter, to face him. 2 out and a runner aboard in the 9th inning. 9-6 New York. And the first pitch low and inside for ball 1.
23 for 26 in save opportunities this season since 2005. The most saves in baseball. This man right here, Francisco Rodriguez, at 217.
Montero hit a home run last night. 1 for 4 in the opening game of the series. And Frankie falls behind him 2-0. If Montero gets aboard, then Chad Tracy would come to bat as the tying run. Mets have now used 6 pitchers tonight. There's Tracy on deck. He's had a rough night at the plate. 2-0 to Montero. And he pops it up. That should do it. Coming in is Castillo to call, and the ball game is over. On the strength of Angel Pagan's first home run as a Met, his first career grand slam in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets outscored the Diamondbacks 9-6 to even up this series at a game apiece.
Well, great job by Angel Pagan with a big hit when the